Ideally.
Okay, I think
I'm not sure. Wait, give it a second. Wow, this is really confusing.
It does say live at the top.
What is loading over here? Until I see it over here, everyone can be patient. There we go.
There we go.
So that was a great vibe, Corey. Great job. You
Great.
really-
And that's how you teach a successful cookie decorating class. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, we are live. So, Corey, you can go ahead and wrap that up, guys. That was great. Thank you so much for all you taught us today.
Yeah, all the questions, everything like that. I'm just kidding. We wanted to always start a live where it sounded like you missed everything. So people are like clicking on their phones. Where did the live go? So Heather finally got me to sit down, brush my hair, so we can do a live on one of my favorite subjects, which is actually teaching sugar cookie decorating classes. We've done it in person and we have done it virtually. Today we're actually going to focus more on in person. It seems like that's where the students want to be now. We still have people who ask for virtual classes, but a lot of people have made it known that they are ready for in-person classes as long as it follows COVID guidelines. So if you bear with us, Heather's going to be typing the questions.
I'm just directing everyone. This is the first time Corey's done a live, and I'm even excited to see what happens.
I don't like it.
Let me just pin this.
So Heather's going to share it.
Keep going.
Can you pull up my little outline thing?
Here you go. Here you go. So what we wanted to cover, what I'm making Corey cover today, is I want to go through the materials that you use in class, and I would like to give people a cheaper alternative. So the important thing is you can do this bare bones.
You can do bare bones.
Or you could like invest a lot of money. It's whatever your really goal is. If this is you just taste testing this, I would say keep it cheap. Right?
And if you want to get a few under your belt and then invest into it, absolutely just so. So what got me and Heather into teaching classes is because sometimes I don't like to do custom orders. It takes the joy out of it. I don't have a spark of interest sometimes when someone shows me a Power Ranger, but I do enjoy teaching. As you see, me and Heather love to talk, especially in the group. So why not share that with other people in cookie decorating? We actually started off taking, and it wasn't malicious, it wasn't anything like that, but when I was learning how to decorate cookies, we took, Heather so graciously.
No, here's the true thing. Corey got mad at me once, and my then boyfriend, I was like, hey, she's super mad. Like, I don't really know what to do. And he was like, well, what's she interested in? Kind of seems like the cookie thing is kind of taken. And he was like, I don't know, like take her to a class or something. And that's what I did.
To a class. So Heather knew how elusive it was because when she went to sign both of us up for class, the lady said, I'm sorry, we only have one seat filled. And Heather said, well, you're teaching 3 classes today. You can't have another seat.
One seat empty.
One seat. Whoa.
We're doing absolutely terrible. Please bring your family.
My bad.
The classes were absolutely, so I went to sign myself up and I bought 2 tickets, but when I went to check out, it said only 1 ticket available. And I said, she's like, oh no, we're absolutely booked for that day.
Yeah.
We have 1 seat left. She's like, but I think somebody's going to drop out and you can take their seat. And that's what happened. So there was a completely full class. It was a class pre-COVID. So there was about 15
I think there was
people.
15
So
of
she
us.
taught 3 classes at 15 people by herself. And
We were $85
on the
a
same
ticket.
day. Yeah, $85 a ticket.
So we went to the class, and being a participant of the class showed us a lot of what we would want if we taught a class ourselves. We had people with us. We could hear what other people in the class were saying about the class. And it was very enlightening. So I knew after I left that class that one day, if I ever taught a class, what I'd want in it, what I wouldn't want, and how I'd want to be able to give it to our students. So we decided to start teaching.
And we absolutely stole that lady's idea and started teaching, which is fine. Don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of marketing is just,
and she wasn't the first teacher. She won't be the last teacher. We weren't the first teacher. Obviously, we're turning y'all into teachers, so I'm okay with this.
The great thing is she still teaches classes at $85.
And we teach classes too, and there's enough people around the world.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go with Heather's workflow. She has it set up because we're going to dive in, follow her outline because she's so good at making it. Her workflow, the runtime is 6 weeks ideally.
So that's from concept to the day of the class.
Yeah, 6 weeks runtime because you honestly are asking a lot per ticket. Right now we're at $75. So we priced ourselves a little bit under her. That's the marketing in us. If we could give you, our classes are more geared towards beginners. Why do we gear our classes towards beginners? And it's because there's more of them out there. More people are beginning than there are proficient. So if we can get more buns and more money, that's who our target audience is.
So let's pretend that we're picking up our next class.
Okay.
So it's week 1. Corey and I sit down, we select a date, and we choose a theme. So the date, so let's pretend we don't have a class set up. In 6 weeks, what's 6 weeks from today? We're looking at the beginning of June. So
Yes.
we would say, okay, the date would kind of be either a Saturday or Sunday. We've never done midweek classes.
Unless
it's
it's
private.
virtual, yeah.
Yeah.
Our private or virtual is the only time we do midweek because we work. But ideally, a lot of people work around this area, so we try to target Saturdays and Sundays because those are where people are looking for things to do.
Right. So let's pretend we select a date. I'm just going to pull up a calendar just to so you guys can see how we work. And this is pretty casual and laid back. So I'd say, Corey, it looks like June 5th or June 12th is kind of towards the beginning of the month, but still within that 6-week time frame.
Right.
The reason why we don't do it only 4 weeks out is it is really hard to fill classes without enough runtime. And we'd rather fill the class out 3 weeks before the class than wait until the day before.
Absolutely. It stresses me out to not have the class filled. So Heather just would have that conversation. I'd be like, hey, around here, schools get out around June 5th. Let's actually shoot for June 12th because people will already be looking what to do with their kids.
Okay, so then we say June 12th. Okay, Corey, what kind of theme do we think is going to be good for June? I would say something sand, summertime, ice cream.
Yes,
So
so
pops.
we have done popsicles, ice cream theme. What decides the theme is 4 colors of icing because I do not want to make 6 colors. You're going to find as your classes fill up and more people sign up, those days before the class will be a lot of work because you have a lot of icing to make, you have a lot of cookies to bake. So we limit each class to only 4 icings. Usually, I even try to make them all flood consistency. Again, we're working with beginners, so we don't have to have those technical aspects. We'll do technical aspects like wet on wet, talk about transfers and things like that.
No, you're skipping my little work.
Oh, my bad.
We're just going through the time.
Sure.
Then we're going to break
Okay,
down
all
the class.
right.
I have a script and I spent time.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so then after we choose the date and theme, we need to scout a location. We're going to delve into how we get a location in a minute before Corey's out the gate with my little
Okay,
secrets.
love it.
Okay, but we would say, okay, let's say June, we're thinking we live in Northern Virginia. We only teach in Northern Virginia just because we don't want to travel to dirty Maryland. I'm just kidding.
We love Maryland.
I don't like to travel. But so then we would say, okay, can we get any of the free locations? We're going to talk about that in a minute. If not, can we start going to paid locations? We look for something that's central, something where the interstates either are pretty close or so we're not looking to go to anybody's house. We're always looking for a commercial property. Then
we talk about that a little bit. Will we dive into that a little bit
we're
later?
later.
Okay,
That's all
okay,
later.
okay,
This is just the timeline of events.
Because I was baking last night, but she did send this over, and I briefly opened the email.
Not open the email. Let me just refresh and make sure we have no comments.
Tons of
Everyone's saying,
comments,
Heather's my
right.
favorite. Heather's my favorite.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then we would, after we select the date, choose a theme, select and confirm the location, we would make the Eventbrite event. Right now, Facebook is doing a big push to go against Eventbrite. It's just not right now. I would not recommend it. A lot of glitches on Facebook's end. So we'd stick with Eventbrite, which has Eventbrite fees. I'm going to talk about our fee structure in a minute. After we create the Eventbrite event, it pushes to Facebook automatically if I click a button. So that would push it to Facebook
As an event, which we love. 100% we'll always make an event, not just a post.
We'll do both. So
Yeah.
we have the pin post that has our list of classes for anybody who goes to the Facebook page. We have the events tab that has our list of classes as well. Then we have Eventbrite. So the class is listed virtually 3 times and then we start promoting it. Week 2, Corey will either order the cutters, I think, typically from like Sweet Pink Olive, or she'll ask me to print some of these rogue ones.
Yeah, or I have some down in my hundreds of bins of cookie cutters.
Right. So week 1 is really the setup, determining the theme, getting the location. Week 2, we start slowly prepping, but the whole time Facebook promotion is going. Facebook ads, we'll get that into that in a second. Week 3, I think we kind of forget that there's a class mostly.
It's more like life hits us, but then we're back at it on week 4. We create the set to photography for both promotion and for our PowerPoint. A lot of people did ask a question. I'm just going to touch on this. How does everyone see what you're decorating when the cookies are so tiny? And it's because I don't decorate. But we'll get into that. I know a lot of people are like gasping right now. They signed up for cookie decorating class. You're not decorating, but there's a reason behind it. Week 5, send past class attendees sign up email.
Yeah, so if we have any available seats, that's that kind of crunch time to say, hey, we want to put buns in seats still.
My neighbor, case in point, has been to 6 classes. She's paid full price each time. So you want to have that pool of past people and constantly get them back in there.
We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Perfect.
And then after that, we would probably send week 6. This is a week before class. So I send an email to confirm the location, make sure they're on board, because that would be my worst nightmare. I send a class reminder that Monday. There's a strategy why I wait until the last week, the last 5 days to send that reminder. I send a class reminder on Monday. Corey and I bake on Thursday or Friday if the class is either Saturday and Sunday. On Friday, if the class is on Saturday, on Friday I send another automated reminder email saying, hey, here's the time, location, what to bring, COVID policies. And then on Friday or Saturday or Sunday, we have the class. And then the last day, so either Sunday or Monday, I send a follow-up email with some things that we're going to talk about in a second, but it gets them back into our little retargeting ad.
And that's what we love. Okay, so now we are at choosing a date. The date is going to determine a lot for you. It's going to determine your interest. It's going to determine your set. It's going to determine your colors, and it's going to be what you use to market.
Mm-hmm.
If you do obscure things like Pancake Day, you're limiting your audience a little bit. We want to go a little bit more broad.
We try to. So this year, I think it was a real big struggle that the holidays are very close to our 6-week run times. So it is making it like, because Easter was the first week of April instead of the last week of March, then we didn't have enough run time. So people didn't have the Easter thought until April, but we were trying to push the class in March. It is kind of confusing, but we always have our class that precedes a holiday match that holiday.
Exactly.
Right. So Christmas is the biggest one. So I think at Christmas we did 9 in-person classes.
9 in-person classes. That was a push for us and our sanity. We had a success in October for Halloween. If you're going to do one, do it for Halloween. And then November was actually successful too because people wanted to have it for their Thanksgiving parties.
Right. So then we have these like floater holidays. So in the middle of the summer, it's kind of like
4th
this.
of July.
Yeah. So we try. Okay. There's going to be a 4th of July one. We're going to have a weird sand and
Yeah.
beach. There's going to be probably a flip-floppy thing in August.
Yes.
Then towards September. Fall, so we're transitioning with the seasons, and then October, November, and December always hit holidays.
Yeah, locked and loaded. So January we actually tried. We actually did virtual classes, and we did our February theme in January,
which was a risky click because in January you're not thinking about February, which is Valentine's Day, but we needed to have tested it out.
Yeah.
And I would say that no, I would not have done the Valentine's Day class in January.
I would have done a winter theme if I had to choose, which we did do in December as well. So I would have made that for January as well. So choosing a date is crucial to how successful your event is going to be. Don't be obscure about it. Make it fun. Make
it broad.
Make it broad, especially if you're going after beginner people. The reason why we go after beginner people is, and how Heather states it, is we're going after the beginning cookier or the person who's just watching those flood videos on Instagram and want to know what it's about, because we don't want ever to isolate anybody. I don't want you to be a pro coming into my class. There's a lot more beginners out there than there are people who are
and a lot of the pro people are taking virtual classes anyways, and those people are just better at teaching them. It's just, if I was to target anybody, I target people who are looking to hang out with each other.
Exactly.
Not people who are looking to necessarily sell these. Even though in every class we have one person who is trying to get into baking to sell, which is great. It's just the dynamic is very different when they're there.
Yeah.
So let's say we have never done a weekday class unless it was a private class, and that was virtual. Would we be willing to do that only if someone paid for a private class?
Yes.
Right. So I would never do one of these broad open class in the middle of the day on a Tuesday. It's just we live in a very commuting working area. There's not going to be enough people with free time for us to make it worth it. These classes aren't necessarily designed for kids, although we do have kids there. We make it a point to say this is, where it's not like, hey, boo, everyone, welcome to class. It's, adults talking, but if you want to bring your kids, the youngest we've had is 6.
Yeah,
and
she did
they were
amazing. But you have to, if you are a parent, buy a ticket for yourself if you're bringing a kid. I'm not a babysitter. With COVID guidelines and everything, each body counts. So if you want your kid to come, absolutely, but you'll be buying a ticket too. You don't have to decorate. You can leave the cookies in front of you, eat them and go.
It's not a babysitting thing, unless you're, we've had teenagers take it for their birthday, and they were absolutely amazing to work with. Gina Marie Burke, I'll wear this one. She said, I missed it. How do I find a location for a class? What we do is we start off by finding the ideal location. So in every state has a Springfield, but we have a Springfield. It's the cross section between 95, 495, 395, and 395. So it is a central hub. Within that location, we found a workspace, the shared workspace, that we rent out a room. I'm going to talk about the cost of that in a minute. Ideally, we recommend reaching out to remodeling showrooms.
Tell us why.
remodeling showrooms have very large islands and they need foot traffic. And it's very hard to get people into a showroom on a weekend. So the remodelers say, hey, you got people in here that are learning how to bake. Baking equals
People who like to be in the kitchen.
and kitchen equals potential kitchen remodels. So again, when we do, that is a free place for us to host.
Yeah.
That's where we hosted it this last weekend. But we also work with the AR workshops. If you don't know what those are, they're franchises.
Are they around? Are they just
They're
around here?
national. No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the AR workshop.
So some AR workshops will charge us, but the AR workshop that we work with has a retail side. So in her mind, she says, if they're bringing in these people, nobody was using my building anyways, and every time we've hosted a class there, someone's bought something
Exactly.
from her.
And how we are able to make that, I'm not sure if we're trying to get to it later, is we tell them that we're going to do all the marketing.
Right. So to them, for them, we're in a marketing budget. We pay for our Facebook ads, and we'll talk about that in a second. But in AR workshop, we brought in 100% of the people who've attended that class,
100%.
and they hadn't come to her classes yet.
Yeah. So it was a win-win.
Gina says we're freaking brilliant. Gina was a genius. Gina. She did a pop-up the other day, a pop-up live, pre-sale live. Goodness, good Lord. She did a pre-sale live, and her secret was having 2 separate locations on the same day. So she bribes one of her clients to host her.
Genius.
Genius, Gina. Okay, I want to swing back up to, okay, we had choosing a date, choosing a time. Tembi asked this one?
Yeah, Tembi, this is for her.
Okay, so yes, we do have our classes around a lunch rush. That is, so Corey and I do not eat lunches on the days that we host classes.
We
do
eat
sneak
extra
cookies. That's all good. Do we need this one for the class?
No, you can eat it.
Is this a broken one?
Yeah, it's a broken one.
So our classes are always between one of these 3 time slots, 11 to 12:30, 1 to 2:30, 3 to 5:30. So yes, this is a long day for us, but there are 2 of us. Once you do it one time, it becomes a copy and paste.
It really does. And you're only giving yourself 30 minutes between each class to set up. It is, and it's because we've gotten it down for setup to be that 30 minutes. We are hustling and bustling, but I don't want to spend an hour in between each class waiting. I want to get these classes done. I want to get home. I want to get paid. So we hustle and bustle through that time frame. So we can get as many bodies in, as many bodies out, and as many cookies decorated with the least amount of time. So
Yeah, so it's an important thing in our area. People really like to show up very early. So we actually send an email. Please do not come in 15 minutes prior. We've had people come
an hour early.
And it's very stressful to be cleaning things and setting things up. You're not as pretty as you are when you're setting up.
Oh, it just makes me sweat when someone walks in early. So now what we do, we don't let them actually into the room that we are decorating. We have them just stand at the front. So we created our boundaries and are sticking to the boundaries. That way we can get everything ready, and they get the best experience because they're not seeing me and Heather like just sweating like dogs out there. And then we bring them in when we clean up this mess and then clean up that mess.
Okay, I have some great questions. I'm going to just finish this little section, then we get to these questions, and then I want to go through materials. So just the workflow, the class starts at 11, but we always get there at 10. That is an extremely no rush setup process for us. We do have a TV. We do use a Google Home. I'll get to those in a second. So I want to make sure that those are completely set up. The last thing you want to do
is not be ready.
Right. So there's 2 of us. It makes it a lot easier for Corey to crowd control if I'm setting up the computer. But if there was only one of us, it is going to be very stressful for me to be like, good, please, well, hold on, I got to take your temperature, but I got to fix the TV first.
Yeah. So we get in there. If we partner with a place that is free, we say we need 1 hour setup. No one's ever told us no. So that has been great. The places that are paid, we have so graciously asked for an hour setup, and they've never charged us.
Oftentimes they're not using those rooms anyways, so it
Yes.
never hurts to ask if they're willing. We're parking it there for 5 hours, so we're paying for 5 hours, so it's not truly a loss for them. Nobody was going to use that room anyways. So we have an hour setup time. That means everything is perfectly ready to go. Corey and I have about 10 minutes to sit, breathe, take social media posts. This is where we get on the stories.
We
and
tag the people that, the places that we're at.
I bring one of the expensive cameras, and we take a lot of setup photos. That way I can use it in promotion later. And then between each class, we only have 30 minutes. So we are actually, at the end of each class, is kicking people out. They do want to stay. They do want to talk. So there's 2 of us. So if somebody catches my ear, unfortunately,
I am hustling for both people. And then I'll be like, Heather, do you mind if you could help me with this? And I'll be like, oh, I gotta go. And then they're good.
Right. So as soon as they're out the door, we're wiping everything down per COVID policies, and we're resetting everything, putting the camera or the PowerPoint back to zero,
Yep.
and then going from there. And we do that, the third times. And then after class, that ends at 5:30. We're beat, and it probably takes about 30 minutes to throw everything in the car and just call it a day. I'll clean it up tomorrow.
Yes, amen. Oh, that's my favorite feeling when we get to the end.
Oftentimes, when the AR workshop doesn't let us clean up, they'll do the cleanup. The remodeling showroom, we do the cleanup and vacuuming and set it back to normal.
And the place we pay for, we don't do the cleanup, but we do try to do our best to make them happy because we like that location. So if I said, hey, do you want me to bring a vacuum? She's like, no, we have someone for that. But we'll wipe down each table. We will reset the room back to the way she had it when we walked in, because this is a business relationship. They're happy, we're happy, everyone leaves the sale happy.
A question is, do we feed them? If so, how much do you budget toward refreshments? We do not. We
don't
keep that money. Plus, in COVID, you have to do they call it the highest watermark. So in IT, the person with the most rules, that's who you follow, because this person doesn't lose if you have high rules. This person loses if you drop the rules.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are very...
You have to think about everybody. If someone's comfortable with someone else taking off the mask, then you got to go to the person that's uncomfortable.
Right.
So we don't actually allow anyone to take off the mask. No one can eat or drink. We don't even say you can bring refreshments. But we do say if you mess up a cookie, eat it on your way out.
Right. So there's no eating. There's no mask taking off. Some people are very worried about it. So we do, and I'll talk about our COVID policies in a second. So no refreshments also gives us more money, and I'm not greedy, but I am.
And we don't have to worry about stocking the fridge, or someone's like, well, I need Diet Coke.
And waters are really hard to carry. They're just really heavy.
Yeah, go easy on yourself and don't offer refreshments. No one's ever cried about it. No one's ever even brought it up.
Emails never say anything about, feel free to bring, let's just bring an apron if you want.
Plus, things spill. And just imagine if a Diet Coke spilled on someone's cookie set, and then you have to, give them another cookie set? That's money out of your pocket, plus the hassle that you take away from the rest of the people in the class focusing on a spill. So we highly just suggest focus on the cookie decorating, no refreshments. They're only there for an hour and a half because we're not doing a 5-hour class like you are teaching, like intermediate to experts. We are teaching basic level, and we stick to that 1.5 hours. They're literally decorating the entire time. They don't even have time to be hungry.
Right. So to recover, to recap scouting location, we choose a central location for a certain area. So if we're in Springfield, where are the times that we have people driving 40 minutes to Springfield from Manassas, Virginia? We do have people coming from Maryland to us because we do not teach classes in Maryland. So the longest commute is either somebody coming from Maryland or somebody whose friend invited them.
Yes. So
you typically, the people who do sign up for the class are within, I'd say the most we see is about 20 minutes drive.
20 minutes. And that's where we put our marketing budget. The easier you make it for somebody, that's where you need to focus on. So I'm not going to really market towards Marylanders, even though we love Marylanders in our class, because they're going to have to justify that long commute. Whereas I could justify to everyone in Fairfax County, that's a ton of bodies, and get the same amount, probably a faster sign-up rate than I would if I was marketing farther away.
Right, but now if we're getting closer to class and there's nobody in it, we're going to broaden
it out. Come on,
California. Let me see. The subject, Patty is, I like that Patty just joined the slide. She has no clue what's going on. She's like, I'm trying to learn. This is actually on in-person classes. I know we have some virtual questions and we can answer those, but these are about in-person classes right now. Things I wanted to cover is find something free. If you could find something free, that means you pay yourself more.
Can I interrupt you? When me and Heather were first talking about classes, there is a logo, I don't want to call her a competitor, but class teacher who teaches inside of her basement. And that is absolutely fine. Me and Heather want a controlled environment. It's really important to the vitality of our classes to be able to know what's happening. So Heather has pet snakes. No one wants that. I have dogs and cats, kids and a husband. Not a controlled environment.
Nobody wants that.
They like cats and dogs. Okay, but what we want a controlled environment, and that's why we scout at these locations where we can control who's coming in and out. We know what to expect, and then no one knows my address. So if you hate the cookies, you can't.
And nobody wants to. Her neighbors don't want to see 5 cars parked outside.
True.
The commercial spots are commercially licensed. It's just a lot easier. So we work with remodeling studios. They love it because it gets people in there, and we do this little hey, have you seen this cabinet? Look what if you happen to open it. AR workshops, they're a little
If I had to
franchises.
say my favorite location is AR Workshop because they are built for
It's
classes.
made for classes because
Yeah.
that is what the AR workshops are. They are classrooms for crafts.
Yeah.
We
did
there
it at
are
a-
some AR workshops that do want to take commission a charge per ticket.
That's a discussion you have.
Mm-hmm.
I would not say don't take a part of your profit, add money to the ticket. So you walk away with the same amount. So maybe you're charging a $90 ticket. That's up to you. They'll do some of the marketing, things like that. We did a location. It was free. It was at a brewery. That was not a controlled environment. We did not know that.
They were open and it was loud.
And there were drug people.
Yeah, it was people meandering in just to watch us teach a class, which was very distracting.
This, I will say, is the only time that they did food. And
They did,
it was
but it did not work
fiasco.
well because people had our table setup does take up their entire space, but then they were also adding food to it. So we had people eating on the bench next to them, people trying to hear to take the class,
Yeah.
people who didn't order.
Ordering, people saying, "Hey, can you take my order to me?" I said, "Absolutely. What would you like, a Diet Coke with that?" But it took us away from the class of the people maybe who weren't eating, so it created a weird dynamic in there.
Megan says, "What are AR workshops?" I'm not in the United States. AR workshops are this kind of weird franchise that all they do is get from their corporate office a craft, and then they have people sign up to take the craft, and it's a lot of woodworking and painting.
Yeah.
So they're very similar to what we do. They just don't do baking and cookies. The lady didn't even like doing it. The lady is like, "I'm not a baker. I can cut wood, but that's all I'm doing."
Yeah.
So the AR workshops are kind of like franchises. They've been suffering a lot through COVID because a lot of them have closed for their classes.
I
but
just
that's-
caught someone's comment and they said most churches will have rooms or buildings they rent out, or if you're a member, they will actually do it for free. Check with your home church to see if you have one. That's honestly a great one.
And that's going to
because-
be a really quiet space. That's going to be a great space
Yeah.
with parking, easy access, and a controlled environment.
I do love that.
Someone said, "Yay, I miss those. I'm in Maryland. How can I find out about your classes?" Give me a second, Patty, because I gotta set it up. I am behind.
Okay, so moving on. Go
Here's
ahead.
some things I'd highly recommend that I wouldn't have known until we did this.
Mhm.
I highly recommend a place with a sink that is nearby. A lot of people washing their hands. It is a messy thing, but also we're also washing a lot of the utensils after they're done,
Yeah.
just so that that icing doesn't stick to it. It is a bear. Get it off a couple days later.
Yeah, so we actually use real scribes. We have a piping practice sheet.
Yeah.
We have these tins that we put the icings in, and those end up getting a little crusty. So if I can throw them in a sink while we're talking, it saves us a little bit of work on the back end.
I would like a place that's easy to park. We have a lot of people that have a fear of parking.
Mm.
So actually what we do is in the emails I send the Friday before or the Monday before class and the day before class, I have a Google Maps screenshot of parking. And then oftentimes we'll go and take the photos of, hey, here's where you park, here's where you walk, here's the front door, here's where you go.
Yeah.
And people have said like, wow, I actually have a real severe fear of going to new places that really helped me understand. And I know it's a little extra, but I kind
There's
of hate
extra.
navigating.
But it's actually true. So what Heather does and how this helps us when she does this email is we've set up our boundary of, hey, we don't let you in for 15 minutes. But if you're more comfortable with the situation you're driving up to, you're not going to show up an hour early. So it kind of works for both ways. Heather loves a photo, loves a diagram, loves a heat map.
Let me
Of a
tell you where to
location.
go.
The next is
Hold on, wait. I would say
a place that will promote the class. Okay, a lot of places, they're small businesses. If they don't have a good marketing plan for themselves, they're probably not going to have a good marketing plan for you. If you can find someone who will cross post and use their audience, like our workshop did, and they have crafty people coming in, odds are those people that come into their other classes would want to come in ours. So we love when someone will cross promote. The work solutions place, the workaway solutions place is not promote for us.
the shared workspace, and we don't have the same target audience
Right.
anyway.
So it's okay. But if you can kind of come up with, hey, I'll tell you in class if you told me before class, you can reach a little bit more people.
We have a couple of amazing recommendations. So people said talk to a church.
Mhm.
They have a thing. Someone said Hobby Lobbies have a classroom.
Michael's
and-
has a classroom.
And Michael's have a classroom. So that's a great idea. And they said Hobby Lobby's willing, and I'm sure Michael's would be willing to give you the classroom if you recommend they go to the store and buy some
Okay.
things.
That
Which you can get
Sunny
shred
Side
from a
Up,
Michael's.
Sunny Side Up Bakery.
Beads from a Hobby Lobby. Just go out and get the beads. The cookies don't even
Yeah, you don't even need the cookies to sell it.
I would say that if we could recommend a larger space, I think COVID restrictions here in Virginia are 50% capacity. So any place we've ever been to, we've only filled half of what they're allowed to have, and people want the space anyway, so it's not a big deal. In fact, I kind of like the smaller classes.
The smaller classes make it easier to juggle. It's great that me and Heather do this together. If you could find your best buddy and do a class with them, it makes that dynamic a lot easier. So Heather's able to cover the steps with people maybe who finished, and then I can go around and help people who are maybe struggling with something. So everyone's getting a bang for the buck instead of like silence falls upon the class while one person is being addressed.
Hold on, there's a question they're trying to bump. Chantel doing her best. Hold on, I'm gonna find it. Hold on. Painting with a twist. Where are you painting with a twist? Comment. Frank, whatever your comment was. Okay, thinking about painting with a twist type events. Under normal times, do you handle alcohol? Do you allow people to bring wine? Here's a very interesting thing. In the past year, one other company has popped up as our competition. They have their own, they're a brick and mortar store. They only charge $25 for 2 hours. You can drop off your kid, and they give you your kid a glass of wine. I'm just kidding. They give the parent
oh my
a
God,
wine.
sign me up.
Where's Archer? No, so they actually they do handle wine. I don't want to handle it. I don't want to deal with the legality of it.
And the problem is if only one person's drinking and the rest of the class is not, it creates a weird vibe.
Weird dynamic. Not that it's the
Yeah,
alcohol, it's that their vibes are off, right? So
Their
you have
vibes
it's like
are
their vibes are off. So it's like, you know, if you go to a party, which we do not, if you went to a party late and everyone's been there for an hour and you're showing up
fresh as a daisy,
stone cold, then you would say, wow, this is dynamics really off.
Yeah.
And that is something that is really hard to navigate in a
So
classroom.
me and her are always about a controlled environment, whether that be no food or drinks, whether that be no drinking. Not saying that we are absolutely against that, and I would love to see Heather try to teach a class.
I would get better.
She would be best.
Valerie asked a great question. How do you accept payment? We only accept payment in one way. You have to order through Eventbrite. So I know you all who want to keep it easy on clients, bless your souls. I am not trying to chase payment.
No,
I'm not.
our ideal client is willing to take the steps to buy the class. If you are like, oh, I want to pay you in pennies, you're not our ideal client. You're probably not going to be taking a class
Right.
with us.
And it's too hard for me to manage. So Eventbrite does a lot of its automation. That's what we talked about on the podcast. Eventbrite reminds you.
There's a
Eventbrite.
podcast?
There's a podcast with Greg. Eventbrite reminds them. I remind them as well, just so they know, like, hey, we're here. But Eventbrite's saying, hey, listen, your order's complete. Hey, listen, this. If they want a refund, which we're going to talk about in a second, Eventbrite allows us to give a class credit, so we still have their money.
Mm-hmm.
We aren't chasing it. It just keep it streamlined.
Yeah.
Don't allow people to pay in 5 different places. Don't take their Venmo. Don't take their PayPal. If it's not an option, they just accept that's not an option. If they want to take the class, so go to Venmo. I've never had someone say, I was going to take your class, but you don't accept Venmo, so now I'm not going to. Never had it happen.
So that's really, find your ideal client, and that's who is going to sign up for your class.
Right.
Our next is pricing.
Our Australian says, I drink while I teach, but I got to go to bed.
Good night. Okay, so we're moving on to a big part of this, and it is how do you price your class?
We're talking about pricing for us. That doesn't mean it has to be pricing for you, but what we preach is don't undercharge.
Don't undercharge. Okay, but look, there's 2 people here teaching. We both have to be compensated for putting up with each other on the weekdays and the weekends. So we have actually priced it. I think before COVID, what were we at? 80?
Yeah.
Okay, before COVID, we were $80. It's a random number, but then we chose that number because our local competitor, and I know we want to call her that, is at $85. People love her. We love her. We say go to her. We recommend her if people want 2 classes and we're not teaching another one that month. But we wanted to be able to, if you're going through a listing and trying to sign up for a cookie decorating class you've never signed up before, what is going to make you want to come to each class? Saving $5? Oh, they send recipes? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
they're in a centralized location? Ooh.
Yeah, so instead of charging less to be competitive, we give more to be competitive.
So we give more and charge $5 less. Since COVID has happened, we have lessened our price just a little bit to get some people in the door because people are still scared, and is absolutely 100% fine. So we lessened it, but we'll be raising it as we're going into the next steps of the vaccine. To get back to where we were before COVID. But it has worked really well for us during the COVID times with smart audience. So class cost, did you want to talk about room rental fee. So if you can get it for free, get for free. That's more money in your pocket. And that's what we are at the end of the day, is a business. We don't do things for free. That one location, that Solutions place,
Workaway Solutions.
Workaway Solutions place.
They charge us $60 per hour.
$60 for 2 hours.
$60 for 2 hours, and we pay, for 2 hours per class because of 30-minute cleanup. So if we can only fill a room with 8 people, it is a smaller room and COVID. So for every ticket we sell, $7.50 goes to her. If I can get a free room, I pocket $7.50.
Yeah. So you're like, well, then why pay? Because that location is so centralized to so many different big interstates around here, it is worth it to us. Every class that we have had with her has sold out.
Frank asked a great question, kind of along the lines of what you were talking about with our competition. He says, do you go and do you check to see when they're having classes and so you are not having them the same day? Absolutely not. I don't think we've ever looked up the competition since we took her class, because there's a lot of people. And some people have actually taken our class and her class, and that's fine. She's pulling from, they have a brick and mortar, that other lady. Mm-hmm. It's a better place. We actually send everyone in our class to that area because she sells the baking supplies they need. Yeah. But never have we been a room full of empty people and they were all at that class. There's just
the problem. What it is we're confident with what we can give. We're so confident in our classes we can send them to that location without being worried that we'll never see these people again.
Right.
So hey, if they want to take her class and our class, absolutely. That's 2 small businesses that are winning. So I'm 100% for that. We've never tried to down the competition. We love when people take both of them. It gives us great feedback that we can work on.
Mm-hmm. But if we were the only people teaching classes in there, I'd be worried. That's an unsustainable industry. I know everyone's like, there's somebody selling more cookies in our area. Great. That means you have an area thriving that can support 2 people, if not more.
Yeah. Everyone's got them out.
Yeah. So for Eventbrite does charge Eventbrite fees. We absorb those. Okay. So here's the thing about Eventbrite fees. They're around $5 a person. So if we are paying $7.50 per ticket for the room and $5 for Eventbrite fees, it does help to try to find those free locations. Here's the thing. If somebody asks for a refund, Eventbrite fees are non-refundable unless it's a COVID reason. Yeah. I'm sure they're about to get rid of that. Yeah. So if somebody came to me, and we'll talk about our COVID policy in a minute, but if they said, I want a refund and they do not cite COVID, if I do anything else, they do not get the Eventbrite fees back. So we lose that and they lose that. Eventbrite will always get paid. And when Facebook tries to move in an Eventbrite space, they will always get paid too. Moving along, I said so what our costs are. If we don't have the cost of the room, we always have the cost of Eventbrite. We have the cost of our packaging, which are to-go boxes. We're going to cover materials in just a second because I want to go back. Okay. We have the cost of our dough and icing, which is very, very, very affordable. And then we'll have parchment paper.
Very affordable as well.
And we don't let them keep the scribes or these like tin things. So we bought these on Amazon. Very cheap, very chintzy. It's all they need. I don't know where Corey got these.
Amazon? Yeah. I accidentally ordered these. I thought they were going to be the size of a piece of paper, and they are not.
Right. So we actually have the size of the piece of paper ones and these tiny ones. These are actually great because we'll put a tiny piece of parchment paper here, put the icing there, and as it drips out, we just pull it out, and you don't have to wash that every time.
Easy peasy.
And then, if we don't have classes full the day before class or 2 days before class, after ticket sales cut off, we'll send an email to past clients with $10 off.
Yeah, so that actually really helps us. That also, if you are liking this live, you need to tune into the next live about email marketing because that will work in with this very well for you.
Okay, we had some questions about this section. Taylor says, are you recommending her shop for supplies students need for the class or supplies they will need in general? Both. We always teach the class as if somebody's just doing this for fun today. As if somebody's doing this to learn how to decorate for Christmas. That's a lot of people.
If she said this, I don't know. We provide everything for class. I don't know if that's what she's saying.
We provide the things for class, but if they wanted to do it again later,
then we
do recommend the competitor's location because the supplies there are just everything.
And I shop there too.
Right. We shop there a lot. We like our class. I should teach them.
Yeah, all right.
We should be teaching too. Let me scroll back and make sure we cover the questions. For those of us still selling, do you worry about giving out recipes? No, because if they can get on Etsy.
Can I just be honest with you? We sent out the recipe, and one time when we first made the list, when I first sent Heather the recipe, she forgot to put that you cook it at 350 for 13 minutes. So for months and months, no one had the most important part of the recipe. So probably
No one
6 months later,
was
someone said,
baking it.
I'm trying to turn them on my oven. So no, I'm not really worried about it. No one's really going out and baking apparently.
Right, and we're gonna cover that in a second. The type of people who do show up, which is funny. No, so we do not worry about giving out recipes. A lot of people will end up trying to tweak their own anyways.
Yeah, and I say if you have a family recipe, use that. If you want my recipe, use that.
I mean, if you guys, that's an incentive for people to come to us. Is, hey, at the end of this, we'll give you our recipes. These work for us, and you've already dealt with the product that the recipe creates, because it's the same recipe that we
one
use.
class we took, she said, I'm sending you my recipes. I was so stoked after, but it was just a link to a YouTube video of someone random baking.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah.
Is this her? Nope.
All right. Deepa asked how we choose a theme. We're going to get in that in just a second. Valerie says, do you let students practice on a sheet before decorating? Is that a good idea? It's a great idea. I know people are asking virtual questions. This takes about 15 minutes of class time.
And it is
We
so
don't even
much
have to
value
do the
added.
whole thing. So here we go. So we have, this is a logo. I think we bought this on Etsy and then I changed a lot of it.
Yeah.
So we have them do the first 3 lines to help them understand the flow of icing here, longer lines here, and then I try to do this break thing. Then we skip this section. I have them come down to circles, so this will be solid to learn how to put the icing and create a solid circle. Then we trace this. Then I have them come back up here and do squiggly lines so they're frustrated that their sleeve's getting into icing, but I want them to be frustrated. And here we have them outline this, and then we have them actually fill 2 of these.
We actually had this genius idea to laminate these. So it cut down on cost for us. We clean these after class each time. It's the same piping sheet. No one has ever gotten bored of it. People are always like to take pictures of what they did, especially repeat class attendees, and say, oh my goodness, look how much better I've gotten this time than last time.
Right. This eats up a lot of class time. So our virtual classes, which I'm going to sprinkle some of that in there, are just an hour. We do not do piping practice. It takes up too much time. It's too hard to explain.
And to get it over.
So our actual in-person classes are an hour and a half, and we eat up 100% of the time. We have to get started on time, or it will go over.
Exactly.
Never have we finished too early, unfortunately. I have a lot of good jokes. I have to get them all.
We have a lot of puns. Apparently, we didn't use any puns on Saturday.
Amy says, I'm splitting class registration fee 50-50 with the hosting business. I'd say that's a lot. There's a lot of people that would want you to bring people into their store.
Yeah.
You
got to use your marketing, your business, your audience, and use that as almost like a tool to advocate for your business. You're bringing foot traffic into these businesses that wouldn't have had your foot traffic otherwise. You're bringing a subset of people that they want to reach. So that you have to really, I would never do 50%. I 100% think if they want to be compensated in some sort of way, absolutely. But I would really advocate towards the benefits you're bringing.
Like at 50-50, that's expensive. Just go rent a room.
Yeah.
That's still going to be, so, if we were doing 50-50 of a $70 ticket, we'd be paying $35 per ticket. We pay $7.50 for the room we do pay for.
Yeah.
$7.50.
So, yeah, I would maybe rethink that one. And
a lot of people want to know the names of the tin trays. You ordered those.
I will link that. I have no idea what they are called other than tin tray. So I will find the link that I ordered that from.
Amy asked about kids. I'm going to get that in a second because can we buy the piping practice?
You actually can buy it on Etsy and it's very affordable and it's an instant download. So
can you give them the link to that too?
Yeah, you can try to find it. It was, I think, $2. It was super cheap.
Oh, great. Yeah, we printed off, I think we have 40 of these because that one day in December that
we didn't want to clean it because we didn't have time.
So we just got a bunch of those and we had them just use them and then we throw them into a plastic paper bin that I got from Walmart. And then the next day we'll clean them all off.
Easy peasy.
But they're just so nicely rigid. I think we got them laminated at
FedEx.
Yeah, just sent them the paper. They printed it off, laminated it. They're all the same size. I wasn't stressed, didn't have to cut it. I died. These were not.
I will say a lot of people in class have said this is worth it.
Yeah. So when we stole the idea of the other class lady,
she did it on parchment.
She did it on parchment paper, and I was like, I don't really get what we're doing. So then Corey and I said, we went to her class and it was great, and I feel bad saying this, but we said, what parts can we just make a tinge better?
Yeah.
And this was one I said I would like a sheet to practice on. So what we do is we always have one icing bag filled a little extra, and that's what they'll use for this. Pro tip, people don't want to use white on white. They can't see it.
I can't see it.
Right. So,
Plan a little bit ahead. Heather's saying when we went to that class, she just said, take out a color and you see the parchment paper in front of you, do a squiggly line.
If you don't tell them not to, they'll do the whole sheet. We don't have them do the whole sheet because it would take forever and it uses up too much icing.
Yeah, and I'm trying to keep costs down. So I actually measure the icing so we don't lose out.
Right. Okay. AR, and she defined it earlier. Courtney,
Courtney
is
is Heather. Is you are to live is what Courtney is today.
You'll be able, so the AR workshops, we covered that. Google AR workshop. Those AR workshops are everywhere. We have 5 in this area.
It's a very dense area too, though.
Do you cut the icing bags for students or let them cut theirs? This is a great
I
question.
cut the icing bags. I know what the class is detailing. People get crazy with scissors, so it gives me actually a chance to go around and introduce myself quietly to each person, and I can show them actually how I'm cutting the icing bag. So I do line the seam up, we cut straight across, so they're able to see it. I do have gloves, masks, 2 masks sometimes on, so they know that they can be comfortable with me. I don't want to make extra icing bags because that takes more time out of our day before and it costs us more. So if I can dictate that, I will just tell them how to do it. Heather does a great way. She says you can't cut less, but you can't cut more. Can't cut less.
This is my screen. Okay, guys, your icing bags are already cut in front of you, and I'm still going to tell you if at home you're doing this, we have a PowerPoint slide, and it says, hey, you can always cut more, but you can't cut less.
Measure
twice, cut once. Whoa, man, you and your just all over the place. So I want to go back. We covered the class cost, the $10 off. So our tickets right now are $70. We have elbow room to raise it if we wanted to. I'm happy at $70 right now, but we do drop it down to $60 if we need a butt in a seat. So materials. This is what we have for class. We're going to give you a cheaper alternative. I see people just giving so many cheaper alternatives in the comments, so I'm going to steal those and pretend it was our idea. Just kidding. I'm going to mention it though. And then optional things that add the value that we think that people like, people have said they liked. So we have a PowerPoint made through a Microsoft subscription. It just goes through, it's our class script. So I got to say it's really valuable.
Okay, so if I was decorating, this is the one thing we did learn from class. If I'm decorating a tiny 3.5-inch cookie in front of 10 adults, 1, it's not going to be COVID safe. 2, no one can see it. So now what we do is find locations with a TV so we can cast it. So the week before class, me and Heather will take pictures of each single step of the cookie decorating process. So we can actually cast it up on the TV and they can see it. No one's moving out of their seat. Everyone's being COVID friendly. I'm not having to have that moment of silence where you decorate the cookies and you're like heavy breathing and everyone's like, oh, what is she doing?
I just checked out. What do you say?
You just said that. You said the Microsoft subscription PowerPoint. So I was telling them the benefits to not decorating a tiny cookie.
Right.
And then
sometimes Corey will decorate while the PowerPoint is up, but again, there's 2 people here. So Corey is down decorating. I'm narrating like a horse race.
Like
and you'll see her coming around the corner, and she's coming around. Look at her. Look at that, and she's coming back around.
She's like, this is it. She really. And did you see what she did right there? I don't even know if Heather knows what I did right there.
I know.
She is adding value.
You know what? And Corey made a great decision right there, where she went back and fixed that mistake.
And then this is what I hate when Heather does. Okay, I'm gonna ask her to mess up real quick so we can see what it looks like.
Great, huge mistake there. And I really like that demonstration of letting icing overflow the side of the cookies. Now we're going to tell you how to fix that. So the PowerPoint goes through each step. We'll say start here, end here, start here. So it'll be the cookie, then the step, and then the cookie after that.
And a lot of people will look up the entire time as they're going just to see what they missed.
Yeah, so the amount of people who asked me to take the PowerPoint back a step means they're all using it. That is something the other lady didn't have. She was a one-man band. It would be too hard for her to do it.
And they didn't have a TV. It would have been a lot harder.
Right. So the cheaper thing, if you don't have PowerPoint, is Google Slides. Hey, it may not be as pretty, but it'll get 90% of the way there, and it's free.
The next is camera and a backdrop. So we like to have a white background when we take these photos for the PowerPoint. It just has that bright white feel that people like. Happy hunky-dory decorating cookies. Right. We use the AU Core backdrop. You do have a discount code, 20% off if you use Sugar Cookie at checkout. And we bring an expensive camera.
Why? There's multiple reasons, but you just bring a camera. Your phone, if you have an iPhone or a nicer Android. Sorry, my Android people, I have Android too. That will do a lot of the work for you. But hey, a nice camera, and I know we preach about in the group. 1, your product photography will be better, but 2, it really does help with taking the pictures you use for the PowerPoint, and then we take it to class and we take photos of everybody with their completed cookies, And in my follow-up email, I say, if you want to see a picture of you in class that has our logo at the bottom right corner, 80% opacity, go to our Facebook page. That gets them into Facebook.
So if going back to using a camera backdrop to fulfill your PowerPoint, nice camera, nice backdrop makes it look nicer. If you are on a budget, use your cell phone camera. Those are actually just as nice. And you do a white poster board. We would avoid maybe using your kitchen table.
Right. Just make it, as we say, product photography is everything, and in the PowerPoint it does add more of that clean value.
Yeah, so like that website plus Eventbrite. This is how we used to capture people.
We use our website so that when people click to our website, they become a part of a Facebook ad. So do you need a website? No. Could we encourage you to have a website? Yes, but what does everyone use? If you didn't want a website, just create an Eventbrite account and run it all through there. That's what most of our competition's doing.
And it's fine because actually you can trend on Eventbrite. So people can search for things around their area, you'll pop up. The reason why I want them to hit my website at some point is because I have a Facebook pixel that's going to track them. So I take the audience that hits my website and then I'm able to serve them a retargeting ad. It touches on Facebook ads. It's not what we're talking about today, but this is why we like to have a website. Plus we can control the content there. We can provide value, and it's ours at the end of the day. Plus it helps with SEO when people click to a website. Not talking about that today, but basically think about a website if you can. The next is
Allie Bear had a great, Allie Bear, is that your real name? Because that's adorable. Allie Bear had a great question. She says, do you have a photo release for us to be taking photos of people? No. When they sign up on Eventbrite, it says, hey, there will be a camera. However, we do ask people, hey, do you want to take a photo? And we've had people say, I don't want to.
Yeah, I think only twice has someone not wanted to.
And it's been fine.
I don't care. The only reason we take pictures is because when Heather sends that email and posts it to the Facebook page, post it on the website, it's 100% open rate. People love to see themselves. I want people to find value in my emails. And if that is you holding a cookie from class, absolutely. The pictures don't necessarily benefit us. We'd only need one class to really serve for content, for marketing purposes. This is for them. I want them to come back to my website. I want them to get back into my retargeting ads. This is how we do it.
Yeah. So this is how we do it. So in class, it's just tops of heads. They're all very focused. So I'll come around and say, hey, I'm going to just grab some photos. At that time, someone can say no. And then I come back around and say, can I get a photo of you with your completed cookies? And that's when they get a yes or no question. But I do ask.
Yeah.
That said, yeah, there's always a camera at every class. Never have we not taken photos.
Next is Facebook page versus Instagram. If your people that you think will buy from you are on Instagram, focus on Instagram. We highly suggest having a Facebook page. You can run ads across both. So you're like, but I don't have an Instagram. You can actually run a Facebook ad on Instagram and it directs them back
also,
to
get your butt on Instagram. If you're trying to do classes, we have people find us on Instagram.
Yeah.
So.
I have my own little cookie count, and people have come from that and taken classes.
Right. So really, social media is our main source of traffic, but I'm going to cover that in a second.
Scribes.
Piping practice sheets.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Piping practice sheets that we showed you is the more expensive one. Cheaper. You could just use parchment paper, but in the comment section, there is a better idea. They said, you know, the little binder.
Oh, yes.
They said, print off a piece of paper, slide it in there. You wouldn't be able to salvage the paper. This one is completely salvageable. I think it's been through all of our classes.
Yeah, it's an old timer.
I mean, I just put like steaming hot water on it to get the icing off.
The reason why we ended up laminating is because it was cost effective for us. We don't have to keep creating papers each one. We don't have to.
I think for 20 sheets, I paid $50, but we've used 20 sheets every class.
7 times. Yeah, so that's an investment. A lot of people have laminators at home.
I would love to have a laminator.
Heather would laminate everything.
The baking trays, Corey, again, we have a small one here, but we have a large one. The small ones can go through the wash. Turns out the large ones couldn't.
No, the large ones just colored.
Right. So if you didn't want to use those trays, the trays do make it easy to clean up, but just put a large parchment paper. So we have a parchment paper that's huge. We have a parchment paper that's 8.5 by 11, and then we have little parchment papers for the icing to drip off on. Again, this is just so cleanup is easier.
Yes.
You don't want to be scraping icing off the table at the end. It's just not worth it. Yeah. And then people have a little workstation.
And all of the places that we teach at appreciate that we protect their tables and things and use our own parchment paper. If you just wanted to use just parchment paper, you can absolutely do that as well. Just put parchment paper everywhere.
Okay. Someone said, we're getting to that one. I'm getting there. Anicia.
You have to say that. What did she say?
They're asking you about the to-go boxes, but it's the next couple things. So we also, yes, these scribes on Amazon, I think you get way too many for way too little money.
I use these scribes to decorate myself.
We don't let people take these home. They are extremely sharp, but if you didn't want to use a scribe, a toothpick is fine. And that's what we tell people in class. If this is something you're doing around Christmas time, just use a toothpick. The piping bags, I don't think there's a workaround here. I would keep it with the piping bags.
Yeah.
I would
And
not
they're
use
fairly
Ziploc bags.
inexpensive. So.
Yeah, so piping bags are nice. It really does help people. Everyone at the end of class says, wow, piping bags made all the difference. The to-go boxes, where did you order those white ones?
So you can actually order off Amazon and they're more expensive, but I think it was either Paper Mart or BRP Box Shop that you can get them very inexpensive. And they would just be like I think they were under Cookie Box or Cake Box. They're probably the most common one. I will find a link. I swear I have looked a zillion times, but I'll find it again for you. And that's what we use every single time. It's big enough that they don't have to worry something coming down on their cookies while they dry, and it's wide enough that no matter if we do 6 cookies or the 8 cookies we did last Saturday, it all fit in there.
Valerie, and we also give them a Ziploc bag to take the icings home in. They were.
We actually did not do this at the beginning.
We didn't think people would want to take icing, but they were putting them in their to-go boxes, and they said they wanted to eat it.
Yeah, so I ended up giving them a Ziploc bag. Saves more time on me because I would just have to throw them away anyways. So give them a Ziploc bag so they can take it home with them. Less work for you to clean up. They seem super happy with eating it in the car.
Yeah, so a Ziploc bag. Valerie says, do you have a fan on the table? No. As soon as class is over, as soon as that icing bag comes off that cookie, we make them put it in a box.
This is how we say. Remember when you watch those baking shows and the last final thing to do is get the cake in front of the judges? I said, this is what you're getting ready to do by putting your cookies in the box. Do your best to not touch the sides. You want to slip it in there, and everyone has been so careful. I don't think we've had one mishap.
Deepa has been super helpful in this, but she did have a question. No sharing of icing bags, correct. Mostly because of COVID. When we did take the class from the other lady outside of COVID, she did have a sharing, and it was pretty frustrating.
But I will say, when we were sitting in that class and we had to share the icing, the lady next to me said, are you kidding me? For $85 we're sharing? So, and that did ring true with us. So it is a little bit more of an investment, but we also want to be safe, and I wouldn't want to share too. So we give everyone their own supplies. So you're never reaching over the table. No one's ever having to wait. There's no downtime. You feel like
people and when I took the class, not that I know how to bake or decorate, but the girl next to me is like, I'm so sorry I'm taking so long. I'm like, it's fine. My cookie is dragging, but that's fine. Yeah. So kind of having them have their own icing bags. It's pennies so
on the dollar
to not do it. And then they all feel like they got value because this isn't cheap. At $70. That's a lot of money.
$85 when we did it. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on. We use sprinkle cups, which are like, unfortunately, the Jello shot cups.
The ketchup cups. Be good.
If you go to the grocery store, they're not selling them next to the ketchup. People make cute, the heat sealed bags. Those look a lot more professional.
They look more professional, but these don't have sprinkles running across the table.
Right. So we don't want to clean up sprinkles off the table. At the end of the day, a cleanup is important because it has to take no time.
And your place, if you get a place for free, the last thing you want to do is leave a mess and they find sprinkles a month later. So these cups make it really easy. I tell them, take off the lid for your cup. If you want to use sprinkles, dump them and put them in that lid so you're not making a mess. And then
put them in the tray, and then we can just dump the sprinkles at the end. No one has ever taken the sprinkle cup home. I don't know why.
I would love my
They never take them. Again, I highly recommend parchment paper and napkins for cleanup. Napkins, you cannot have enough. We only have ever been asked to give more than we did. People are making messes. They want to clean off the tips.
Yeah. So at everyone's table, they get their own paper towel, and then I have paper towels throughout. I bring paper towels around. Everyone's going to have a paper towel.
I know we're at the hour mark, but if anyone doesn't matter, let's just keep going. You guys can obviously watch the replay to hear these amazing voices.
And look, we're twins, if you didn't know.
Yeah, I should have worn glasses. People think that you only wear glasses, but I actually wear glasses too. So I didn't want to throw them, but I did leave this mat here.
I did this here.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so we do COVID supplies. Right. So we bring in masks. You cannot come into class without a mask. I want you to come into class, so I'm going to provide a mask if you don't show. I think we've only ever had to give one person one, but we always have the option. We have hand sanitizer. We have gloves. I'm apparently the only person who likes the gloves.
Only one who uses gloves. What else do we have?
We do temp checks.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever come back red on there, but it is something that we do before you come into class. I want temp checks. We ask them to wash their hands. We do
Purell, the pump.
Yes.
And then they say if you ever leave class for whatever reason to take a phone call or anything, again, just do the Purell pump in and out. Don't take your mask off. And
We've had, and everyone gets on supply. So we really try to be COVID friendly, and people have really appreciated that. And
some
we
people have
appreciate
said if we sit down, do we have to wear a mask? And we ask them, hey, it is class policy, but that's all set. Those expectations are set when they bought the ticket. In every reminder email, they know that they have to wear their mask the whole time.
and we wear our mask the whole time,
Yeah.
so everyone's on the same page.
Do you use fan or dehydrators? We do not. We do not have time.
So
There's-
this comes down to choosing your set. You need to choose a set that
We're
gets
gonna
them
get to
in and
the
out
set.
for an hour and a half, and that's why fans and dehydrators are out.
At hour and a half, at 2 people managing between 8 and 15 people, depending on the room, 100% of the time is spent like go, go, go. And
There's
even
no downtime.
I'll do like, we have a 15-minute warning, and I give a Corey this like, they were like, go, go, skip this, got it. And then even as we go along, I'll like look at Corey, and maybe we'll have to skip a few steps.
It's the twin telepathy where I'm like, then I do this little bit. And then she knows. Then she 2 slides go.
So I'll be like, everybody, they're all looking down. They're like, everybody, just a quick warning. We have only 15 minutes left, but we're making great time.
Yeah, Heather says that. If I could record it, it's the same thing every time. But it works.
Something, if you're gonna have a PowerPoint, highly recommend a TV with an HDMI cable. AR Workshop will bring one for us.
I stole my son's the other day.
Corey had to bring one for the remodeling room because they had a weird Wi-Fi network we couldn't connect to. Okay, but your cheaper alternative is a laptop. We've done it before.
It's a little smaller.
It's a little smaller, but we would set up 2 laptops, a Chromebook and a laptop, but like across from each other, and the people can look, and the people next to me could look. It's not ideal.
No, I would
TV
say
is better.
if we all have projectors here for our lettering.
Projector's a
Use your
great
projector.
idea. That's a
You just have to
great
have a good wall, but
And then optional. So
this is
the
my
game
favorite
changer.
part.
We wonder if I can go. We have these Google Homes. I love Google Homes.
I actually am an Alexa household, so
We're obviously can't talk to each other anymore. But so I have a bunch of Google Homes. I'll connect it to my phone. We'll connect to the Wi-Fi network, and then we'll play ambient music. And people are like, "Wow, I am
this
so
is
relaxed."
so relaxing.
So they'll treat it into a spa type thing. It's funny because one lady signed up for 6 classes, and she's like, "This is my mommy time. I'm here by myself. I like the relaxing music, and gives me a chance to relax."
And as the class goes silent with people decorating, this ambient music almost breaks it up. So there's no awkward silence. It's just this peaceful, relaxing music. And then I loved it in December when we got to do Christmas music. I could decorate Christmas cookies all year long and be just happy with that. So
I'm going to optional. We bring cookie cutters and a rolling pin as an example. So a lot of people don't realize about 3D printing now.
the reason we do this is sometimes class, depending on the set, might end a few minutes early. And I don't want it to
Yeah.
feel like we
4
have...
dummy slides that if the class is going too fast and they're finishing up too fast, we'll start talking about. So Corey will do this whole thing we have this whole skit about 3D printing. It's like this comical back and
The
forth.
reason I thought it was going to be taking an hour and a half. Some people come to the class and they're there just to have a good time. They're not there to fix their gap, shake the cookie, learn anything. They're there just to have a good time. So they actually go super fast because they're just throwing icing on there and giggling. So if we get to the end with them, we'll try to show them some Joseph and Joseph rolling pins, the difference between cookie cutters. We'll go over the recipe and some icing consistencies.
Okay, great. So that ends our materials. We gave you what we use. We gave you an option. I'm going to go through some questions real quick.
Okay,
Yeah, we're
I
gonna
just
go-
want you guys to know that we have only made it to the first page of Heather's 9-page PowerPoint.
I'm sorry, guys. I just really wanted to add value. I mean, I had to come after Gina Burke.
I know. After all those ones.
Frank brings up a great point. Let me scroll back just a little to see if I missed anything. How many bags of colors are per class?
So we have 4 colors, 4 bags of icing. There will always be 4 colors. One will always be white. Why do you do white? Because it saves me time and it saves me money.
Yeah, so I'll talk about how we come up with the theme and how we come up with the colors in a second, but it will always be 4 bags of icing and between 6 to 8 cookies, depending on complexity.
And normally it honestly is just 6 cookies. The last one I got a little hair at my bun and we did a Mother's Day bouquet. So I threw in, it was like 2 small leaves or something and then
And
like a
it-
mom's tag.
Because they were so simple, we could just knock
Yeah.
them out. And we still
So
ended
it
class
did.
on time. Everything is dictated by the class ending on time. You can't let the cookies dictate the class length.
No, and if you need to, one time, can I throw that in when we did a row cookie?
That was a mistake.
Okay, we did a mistake.
I felt like we had too few
yeah.
steps.
Ugh. No, we gave him an extra cookie and we're like, this is your free space. Decorate it. But the cookie that took the longest to decorate was this
The
free
class
one.
went way over, and then we have people leaving. We have to have that 30 minutes of time
Yeah.
when nobody's there to clean up.
So stick to the thing. Don't
Emily
throw
said,
it
"Keep going over time." I want to hear your lovely voices. So
Oh, we got one person who wants us to
Emily
continue
said,
over.
souffle condiment cups. That's so much better than Jello shot cups.
Oh, they said cheap with lids.
Yeah, so you want the lids. That helps us transport them. Emily, great point. She says, go to Walmart for the souffle condiment cups.
That's what we actually buy. Not the
Perfect.
Jello shot cups. They're called condiment cups.
Okay. Do you use dehydrators, Carrie? We do not. We want them out of there.
We do
Right?
tell them that they can use a USB fan.
So we
and-
tell them the tips. Who we act like it's like, hey guys, interesting.
Yeah,
tip.
you want to be in the cool kids, go get a fan.
Frank said, I did a class with a group of senior college art majors. Everyone came in super confident because they thought they'd be all artsy and it would be easy. They left very humbled. Great point. The worst people in class are the ones who think they're good.
Yeah.
They cannot, it's almost like they're protecting, like, I am good. I promise you I'm good. Like, dude, it's fine, man. It's fine. You're doing good. However, you're not doing great. So that's why you're here.
Yeah.
But-
So that is. I love when people, me and Heather do at the beginning of every class, we ask them,
Oh,
where
this
did
is
you come from? What's your name and what's your experience with decorating cookies? And we do this big old, we don't really honestly care about your name or where you came from, but I want to know if I need to sweat, if we have some professionals in
Right.
here.
So it really helps you understand what's about to happen. So somebody's like, I'm a nationally trained chef. So you're like, ooh, you're either going to be really good or really bad and feel like you need to ask a billion questions.
Yeah.
Then
So
you
it gives
have
us a
to-
little bit of going around the room, getting to know the people there. People seem to enjoy it. It creates a more of a family atmosphere, like we're all in here together, kids, versus a teacher and student aspect. I love when people just feel like they can ask questions as we do.
Taylor asked about the virtual class. She says no one's wearing masks and she just wants to do virtual. I'm going to just give you a quick tip. We did do virtual in January and February of this year. This is how we priced it. We changed a bunch of things we probably shouldn't have. It was Valentine's Day in January and February. It was a virtual class, but every kit was for 2 people. So typically our kits are for
One.
six cookies. This was 12 cookies. They did share the icing because we wanted it to be a date
Like
night.
a date night, you with your kid, mom and kid, husband, wife. We had that. We had 2 kids taking it and a parent. It
Right.
was
So it was the most lucrative classes we
Yeah.
taught because we can sell more because we're not limited to restriction. But it was not our favorite. It just I thought we would
it was a
sell it
lot
on
of work.
free.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah, so what happens on the virtual class is these people are still local to us. We can't ship in Virginia. So they will come to our porch pickup day before, and then they'll take the class on Sunday. So that's always a Saturday porch pickup, a
Sunday
Sunday class
class.
day. And the class is always an hour.
Yeah, it was a lot of work to make the cookies and the icing or whatever. The class was absolutely fun. You had no downtime. You could teach as many people as you wanted within 1 hour. That
Right.
was just the best. And no piping practice, so gloves of breeze.
Yeah. So we prefer it.
We preferred it because you make more with a lot less work. I'm not going
No
around.
cleanup.
Yeah, I'm not
No.
going around and telling people like, oh, let me help you fix this. We did get feedback. My neighbor took that class. She's taken almost all of them. And she said, I just like the feeling when you come around and tell me what I'm doing good and what I'm doing
So
bad.
you can't fix people's problems. And our shtick is kind of like helping you fix problems. So it does make it a little bit more of a laid back.
But it was something we offered to
Yeah.
see. And
I
I liked it. I loved it. I want to do it again.
Something we're going to try is to make our in-person class also a virtual class.
We're going to see if it's
So
work.
what we're going to try to do is have the in-person class with the typical 8 to 10 people that can show up, but also have the Archon mount, and I'll manage it, and Corey will come and decorate, and I'll talk to those people.
Yeah, so it might be a cluster.
It's going to be a cluster, but it'll be a practicing cluster. Someone said, I'd love to see the designs. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Do you offer pictures of the cookies being decorated for students? Yes, that's always in the PowerPoint.
That's our PowerPoint. They
So
get
it'll
to
be-
see the set first completed, and then we take it apart step by step.
Right. So in the PowerPoint, it would be like a blank cookie, and then it'll have a picture of the next step they're completing. So they'll see exactly. I cannot stress to you how some people just will do something random and then be surprised.
When they look up and it's not that.
Right.
thing.
So there's this people, and I say, hey, listen, that's your cookie now.
yeah,
You're gonna
they're
have
like,
it
nice
next step."
pivot.
They haven't talked about it at the virtual classes. I jumped late. I missed this. Do you need a different license or certification? Okay, we operate as a service-based business.
Yeah, so it would be like a HVAC contractor coming to you.
And fixing your HVAC, we are not producing a product. We are teaching a class, or we are providing a service. So we're an LLC with LLC insurance.
Yeah.
So we're not selling products. We're selling a class
A
and
course per se, yeah.
So that's going to be state by state, and you're going to need to talk with your accountant for that. I hate accounting. I hate legal. Our accountant also is our bookkeeper.
Yeah,
She
we have
handles
an amazing
everything.
accountant, and we just sent her sad face emojis and something that we get in the mail, and she takes care of it. So she's really guided us. If you had a question, I would consult with an accountant. It's worth the time and investment to make sure your ducks are in a row. So the
And the
IRS
best
isn't
way
coming
is
in.
don't just get a rogue accountant. Find the bakers in your area and ask them who they recommend, because you want. So I see a lot of people are like, do I charge sales tax or not? That's going to be a state by state thing. But talk to an accountant who works with a cafe or works with somebody who understands that industry. Nadia said, I need your playlist. You must have said it was really relaxing. Do you use the same consistency for, you said the dam and the flooding, but I don't know.
I think maybe for this. For the damn flooding.
We use only flood icing. We're going to
So
get to that.
I decorate my cookies, and I don't do two consistencies for outline, so that's what I train them to. But I always say you can do it. You just be making a million of the same color if
Right.
you want to do that.
Stephanie said, how do you get them to pipe and fill? Stephanie, you can use flood icing to trace and fill, and that is what we do in class. We do not have enough time or desire to create two different consistencies.
And I don't do that myself, so I say, hey, if
Right.
you go to another class and you find that, absolutely fine. If you're coming to my class, the class we took did not do that. She said, this is what we're doing, and everyone did.
And it worked really well because nobody here's advanced. This is kind of their first experience with cookies. Grant, do you sell decorated cookies at the end of it? We do not.
I do not sell cookies at the end of the event. You
We sell
absolutely
kits,
can.
though.
We sell kits.
We sell the exact same kit you just took in class, and if you buy the kit, we'll send you the PowerPoint.
They can. A lot of them reach out and later and order custom orders. But what we want to focus on in that class is the least amount of work with the most revenue. So if you know how we do our kit pricing, a 6 cookie kit with the 4 cling, how much do we charge for that?
If they take the class, the kit's $25.
So it's $25 for 6 cookies, the 4 icings, cup of sprinkles, and a little box to take it in. So that's what our upsell for the class, and that has worked really well for us.
Gina says, you guys do mom and kid classes. We do, and they're $70 a ticket, regardless of your age.
Yeah.
Because this is,
It's
a lot of people ask us to do kid classes, but I just don't see the value of them paying for it. So if we only do 1 class or 2 classes, we only do 1 class day a month. We might do 3 classes on that day. But if I could sell it to an adult rather than a kid, I'm going to. And
because they're going to buy again.
Right.
We have parents that come with kids. I absolutely love that because we had one mom that came. She came with her 2 kids. That was 3 tickets that were sold for that. That was a great return on investment.
But
right
what
there.
we do offer for kids is tomorrow we have a lady picking up a to-go class for her kids. So she got the PowerPoint and the 4 kits. They're priced at a kit price,
Yeah.
and she'll go through and teach them herself. We offer them, hey, we can teach it virtually for your birthday party, but that's $200.
Just for 1 hour of work.
Yeah, and it wasn't worth it per. So she said, I'll buy the kits and I'll buy the
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, and she's teaching it herself.
We had one lady who said, I just went to buy this class for my kids, but I don't want to leave them there with you. Is that okay? That is not okay. If you're a body in there in these COVID times, you have to be a paying person. You can come in and decorate that. I said it's a great bonding experience. You'll have a blast with them, but it's not you get to stand in there because you don't want to pay. So if you're coming with the kids, you're going to pay to be with the kids.
Right. Grant said, no, like an impulse buy, like when they're leaving.
No, you
No?
absolutely can. We don't do that because
It's
I
just
don't have
too
enough
much,
time in
too
my
many
life.
wheels turning.
Yeah.
But could you do it? Yeah. Corey gives them a cookie and they always ask about it. It just, Corey doesn't want to sell really custom.
The reason why is we work full time. This is part-time work on top of full-time work. Plus running this group, it feels like we have no time at all. So if I can, I'll actually make them 1 cookie for free with our business card so they can have, just to show them, be like, hey, if you come to this class again, you'll eventually be decorating like me and have
But
fun.
like Christina from the group took our class on Saturday or Sunday, and Corey said, hey, listen, I'm here to teach you, but if you want customs, call her. It's just, Grant, like,
I
do,
think
yes.
absolutely. Do it, yeah.
Well, I'd recommend it if you did. We sometimes have impulse buy kits. A lot
Yeah.
of people will come to class and be like, oh, I wish I got a kit, and maybe we'll have an extra 1 or 2 there for them to buy.
That's
Again,
just what we do.
yeah. Is your virtual class live or is it pre-recorded?
It is live because people found the value in having it live.
If we did it pre-recorded, I'd probably consider dropping the price a little bit
Yeah.
for something that's kind of, but because our themes change each month, our virtual class mirrors what the real class is.
Okay, so we're not doing double the work.
Right. So it also can't be live because Valentine's Day is not going to match March.
Did I miss the price difference between the virtual and in-person?
Okay.
We have our in-person classes range between 70 to 75 currently. In our
Virtual class was 65. However, we doubled what they got. So each one virtual class ticket was for 2 people.
Yeah, because we can't actually determine if they had a home full of people that were listening in onto this class. We don't really care.
And
So
if you're going to do that, fine, you'd have to make your kit anyways.
Yeah.
But what we say is if you buy one class ticket, you have Eventbrite controls it. You have a Zoom link to that computer. So how many people are standing there? Whatever. I could care if it's
Could care less.
50,000 people.
Yeah.
But if you want 2 laptops showing it, or, so we did say in the virtual class, you could buy one class ticket and buy multiple kits if you want to have people
a
over
lot
your
of people
house.
did that.
And that was absolutely fine. I'm not trying to be like, you maybe had 2 computers. You owe us $65. No, it's just not a battle we're trying to fight. I'm trying to make money. Not trying to like police people.
Someone said, any tips on how much icing will be needed for a project? We put 3 ounces of icing in each piping bag and they leave with extra icing.
I've never had somebody run out of icing.
The reason why I put 3 ounces instead of a little less is because I want everything to look uniform. To me, it seems value added that there's not a bunch of different shaped icing bags for some reason.
Right. And she'll put a little bit extra in whatever, or it'll be the cookie that the color we're using the least in the class. We'll use that one for the piping practice.
Yeah.
Do you trace and fill your outlines with, or do you trace your outlines with a double marker? Absolutely not. It's too much time. If you gave somebody that much time to trace, you're not going to finish class
And
in time.
I don't want to trace that before class. The more time you put in, the less profit you make. So you gotta eyeball it like me. You gotta eyeball it like the pros.
Megan had a great question. Do they have to say they wanted a kit before class? They do. Eventbrite has what is called a ticket add-on. So when you go to purchase your class ticket, it'll say, oh, hey, do you want an add-on for a kit for $25? And that is how we don't let people buy them outside of that because, again, it's just too much paperwork.
What we have done, and we've narrowed it down, sometimes people break icing bags. They pop them, and sometimes they drop their cookie or they pick it up, shake it, and it breaks. So we actually make one kit that's ready to go for class. If we have to break it open to help somebody who broke a cookie, fine. If it doesn't ever get used, we offer it to someone in the class to buy.
Okay, hold on, I'm just answering a few questions. Okay, so that covers materials and optional materials and cheaper materials if you wanted to do this. We have our 6-week run time. Scouting a location we covered, pricing the class we covered, establishing a theme. This is what a lot of people are asking. So we try, like we said, our theme will always mirror the closest holiday in front of us. So we'll never do a Valentine's Day thing on February 16th. It just doesn't make a ton of sense.
So well. So Christmas, obviously, that is our biggest time of the year. So Christmas is going to be a Christmas theme. Halloween, typically, we're going to do a Halloween theme.
That one was
colors.
great this year because nobody could go trick-or-treating.
Oh, yeah, that would do great. Thanksgiving, we did a fallish kind of concept. So not
yeah, we
necessarily.
did the same thing except in the summer. So in the months without major holidays, we'll do like summer will be ice cream or beach fun. September will be like fall. Obviously, July is going to be more Independence Day type thing. January was kind of we did Valentine's Day. We did try to do a snow theme. That one didn't work.
Yeah.
March was Easter. April was Mother's Day. But Mother's Day was really weird. It was
because we're a little early.
So this year, unfortunately, we like that 6-week runtime. So I built out the calendar for the rest of the year, and so on Halloween we sell a lot more kits. So I'm not going to have the class necessarily on that day. I may want to focus on kits, a little bit more margin there. We're always going to shift to whatever is the biggest seller.
Yeah.
So if I want to do kits the day before Halloween, because Halloween is on a Sunday, I do kit pickup on a Saturday. The week prior we may do that class.
People are like, oh, I would never do Valentine's Day class after Valentine's Day. Just people are moving on to the next thing in their life, and I don't think we could get as many people as we could with people having that holiday before them versus after them.
Okay.
Promoting a class. I'm going to move as Heather types. Facebook ads are our #1 source of attendees. When you start something and people are like, no one knows me, you're going to have to put yourself out there. The ways you can do it is Facebook ads, email marketing to your past clients, moms groups, local groups, if you have a PTA, if you have a, what is it, community, when you, an HOA, PTA, one of those things.
I don't have kids or a community, so I don't know.
There's no community, no kids. But those are ways you
right.
can actually use. Past clients are our second source of attendees.
Here's the thing, Corey doesn't want to sell custom cookies, so we don't have that list. But if you did, you have the email list to say, hey, you've bought a lot of cookies from me. Do you want to take this class? That would be a great way. We
also have a email sign up on our website. So even if people haven't taken the class, especially if we have a class that's sold out, we'll say, hey, sign up for our newsletter. We're going to let you know firsthand when the class is, and we have collected those emails that way of interested people who opted in.
Right. So a lot of times in class, we'll ask them how they found us. Well, 90% of the time will be a Facebook ad. I saw you guys on my Instagram feed. I saw you in a Facebook ad. The Facebook ad targeting is, what is your ad targeting?
So I have a retargeting ad
that means when somebody comes to the website, they see an ad just because they came to the website.
Yeah, so people came to the website, and the emails of past class attendees is what we run exclusively.
Can you tell them why my water jug is so big?
Heather's water jug is so big because she doesn't want to end up in the hospital like me.
I bought Corey one too, but you won't see it here. You'll see that she is drinking.
I'm so tired.
So yeah, Corey has a Facebook ad running a retargeting ad, a
cold audience ad,
which means
depending on the
nobody's heard
location.
of us.
Yeah, and then anyone who's come to our Facebook page. Usually, I try to keep the audience that comes to our Facebook page for the classes pretty tight. So I can actually say people who come to our Facebook page in the last so many days, or who had responded going, are interested to a class that live within this mile radius of the class that we're teaching. So Facebook ads are something I love. They work for us. I will never stop doing them until Mark Zuckerberg takes it from my golden hand. So
right. So then past clients, we have Corey's neighbor, obviously, for some reason comes a lot. We do have, I would say, if somebody comes to her class, we had one lady who came to all 6 classes and bought extra kits. Now she's selling her own cookies, which is great. Maybe 1 or 2 times we'll see a familiar face, especially when we do that $10 off thing.
Yeah.
We
do see a lot of repeat people. We have Red Kathleen.
Terry,
Crazy Terry comes back.
So a lot of people who are just looking for something to do on the weekend will come back.
Yeah, especially if they're bored. You know, our target audience is people who are what's age?
Who actually shows
Yeah.
up? I don't know. It's mostly people. I have that in a second.
Okay.
The audience right down here. We don't market anywhere outside of Facebook ads, past client emails, and Eventbrite.
Mm-hmm.
So no, there's nothing else we're doing for that. We'll post obviously to our Facebook page, kind of a promotion, but there's no expenditure of time or money anywhere else. Obviously, if AR Workshop would post something, that'd be great. We've never had anyone come from that.
Yeah,
it'd be nice,
but it's still nice,
right? For every 10 attendees that are women, 1 is a man or a boy. So in our audience who actually shows up, we have a surprising amount of mother-son dates, which is adorable.
It's so nice.
Really like that. We have had maybe 5 couples come throughout.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
the
weird.
guy didn't want to be there.
Yeah, the girl did.
Right. It's either a weird thing where the man didn't want to go, or an adorable thing where the man's like the funniest guy in the room. We've had a lot of mom and daughter dates. That's a good one.
I like that one.
Mostly it's probably friends hanging out with friends and group hangouts.
Yeah, so last time we had 2 teachers that taught together showed up, and they each brought one of their kids. So that was nice. That was 4 tickets sold, so I love that one.
They're asking if you boost posts. No, we do not believe in boosting a post. We create an ad that goes out through Ads Manager. Boosting a post is, like I say, it's more of a shotgun versus sniper rifle. So if a boosted post, it'd be like, hey, spend my money, send it to some people, that's fine. Not the end of the world, especially if you have an audience of people that are kind of like that. But hey, if I was going to take my dollar and stretch it the farthest, I want it to go to the person who will probably buy, not a group of people who might buy.
Yeah, so when I boost a post, I can say, oh, people are going to send me a message, optimize for what you think. But when I create an ads manager, I can say, I want to serve it to people only on mobile devices. I want it to show on the right side of their newsfeed. I want it to show in their feed. I want it to show up when they're searching for a certain something on Facebook. I want it to show up in Facebook Marketplace. I want it to show up between this time and this time. I want it to show up with moms with daughters of a certain age. So you can actually get so specific with it. And that's why we'd always suggest to learn Ads Manager. It is
you're going to spend the same $10 in each place.
But
if one is a little bit of learning. Yeah. Gigi says, why are you guys so awesome?
Yay! I like that question.
Okay, moving along. Carrie said, truth. I love Heather the best.
Oh,
I was like,
Carrie, I hate you. Just kidding. She did not say
Jessica said, do your classes come with a kit? Yes. So every class, when you come in, that kit will be not put together. It'll be in front of them, and they'll have the to-go box. But they have the option when they bought their ticket to purchase a kit at Chill. And that will be exactly what's in front of them, but now in a pretty box. It looks
like
all nice.
like a DIY kit that you would
it
buy.
looks just like a DIY kit, and we'll send them that PowerPoint. Yeah, Allie, I'm not sure if you're talking about the to-go kits, but we have people give them to family members and say, I'll help you to it.
Yeah, so that's what we had last Saturday. She had brought her niece and did it. What are your thoughts
on a separate website? That is what Katie, yes. So we
asked, what are your thoughts on separate websites in addition to your Facebook page?
You know, we love us a website here at Sugar Cookie Marketing. It allows us to have a central point to direct traffic to. So we also sometimes sell DIY kits outside of class, so they can go to that class, and then when they're on the DIY kit page, we say, hey, do you want to take a class instead? We can give you this for that.
So it's cross-marketing.
Yeah, it just makes it a little bit easier. We do rank for keywords like sugar cookie classes near me. Nobody's searching for those, but we do rank for them. Sugar cookies near me searches. We do not do well for the keywords like baking, because there are a lot of baking places here. Like Cookology ranks really well, and Sur La Table. I'm slaughtering how you say that.
I like that.
Okay.
All right, so I think we're caught up because she got that question.
Okay, now, we come up with the script. So coming up with the class script, we come out with the script 2 weeks out. We did this one time, and we just keep editing it. Our script, we've done it so many times, we actually don't print it out.
We don't even print it out. I just honestly do a little tutorial, see what's on the PowerPoint screen, and go from there.
Well, the first few classes, I would recommend a script that mirrors your PowerPoint. So it'll be like PowerPoint slide 1, twins intro, and then it'll be kind of like some prompts.
By the time that we are in class, I will have decorated the set for that class between 3 or 4 times. So it's really within my mind that I know exactly what's going and what's happening. Heather will have sat through 2 of those decorating times, and we'll have seen endless pictures that make us want to throw up of that same set.
Yeah, so we shoot for 6 cookies. Sometimes we'll go to 7 or 8. The last class was 8 because they were easier. 6 cookies for us fills up an hour and a half time slot. If we feel like the class is too short, we may throw in an extra cookie for them to play around with. Again,
that was a bad idea. Bad idea.
The class has never been too short, so that was a mistake.
Yeah, that makes the class go too long.
Every class either ends their time or runs over. You do not want it to run over, especially if you have classes after. AR Workshop had their own class after us. They were not happy.
Flow.
We always try to introduce one technique that the class we taught the month prior didn't have.
So this past time we talked about edible markers. Everyone got a disposable edible marker to take with them home. They love that, to write on their little Mother's Day bouquet. They could write mom, they could write to myself because I'm hungry. Wet on wet. One time I did a stiffer consistency for one of the 4 icings when we did a snowflake. People loved that one. It really threw them a curveball though, because it wasn't flat icing. But we try to make it interesting. So you only have so many techniques you can have, especially since they have an hour and a half before they just got to take these cookies home. So it's not like we could really, we're not doing florals. I'm not going to do 15 tipped icing bags and try to teach them. That's just not what I'm going to do.
A lot of people are here mostly just to have a good time.
Yeah.
They're not there to really learn. They're not, if we ask them why they're there, it's like, hey, I do this at Christmas time and I'd like to be a little bit better.
Yeah. Usually everyone leaves the class and they're like, oh my goodness, I had so much fun. I think I could do this. That's what we just want to leave you on a high. I want you to come back. I want you to, but I'm not trying to put myself out, buy 15 tips, really get into the intermediate level of things. We have so many new people that come in that we have not exhausted the audience. So I'm not worried about it.
And to them, they're not like, we did wet on wet last time. They're like, oh no, we're doing black on green.
Yeah.
Well, I'm so stressed. We're doing a different shape. It's there. You can't overthink this. They're not looking for something complex. A PowerPoint that we use. What goes into the PowerPoint? So we'll start off with like
introduction of us.
Yeah, which I have it here. Let's go through what we would sound like if we went through the class intro. Okay, so it'd be like, okay, guys, we're just going to do a point at the slide, the PowerPoint with class guides. Got like some classroom rules. Let's cover some of the classroom rules. Corey and I will go back and forth on this. I'm going to start. If you need to take a phone call, by all means, this isn't high school anymore. Have your phones out. Feel free to take pictures. Feel free to tag us if you'd like.
This is my good side.
If you could make me look tan and skinny, I'd appreciate it. That would be much appreciated. But we're at Sugar Cookie Marketing on everything but Instagram. Oh, sugar cookie classes.
Yeah,
sorry.
we're Sugar Cookie Classes on
Anything,
Instagram
yeah.
and Facebook, so tag us. We would love to share you.
But if
We
you're
love
gonna
to
go
see your
take a phone
creations.
call, just hit that Purell pump on your way back in. We promise we'll keep the class slowed down for you. So don't.
Exactly. Speaking of that, if you need to go wash your hands or use the restroom, just go down the hallway to the left. You're going to actually see it right there on your right before the elevator. Feel free if you need to use class. We are a relaxed environment. Just get up and go.
If you end up outside, you went too far. So retrace your steps. It should be somewhere back now on your right.
All right. If you have a question, you can either say twin one, twin two. Hey, Corey, I like you the best. You can raise your hand, but we really do invite questions. So this is a learning environment. So if you have a question, interrupt us. Say, hey, I need help real quick. Icing's running over.
A lot of guys won't have a ton of questions now, but you may have a question 6 months from now, and you have our email address. So feel free to shoot us an email. We're here to help. At the end, we'll have question and answers, but we'd rather, if you have a question right now, just raise your hand and ask it.
If the questions are hard, please direct them over here.
And then direct them to that person over there who's a nationally trained chef, and we'll be fine.
If you have broken a cookie, I actually made just a few extra cookies, so please, if you can, listen to us as we go through the PowerPoint, because if you break a cookie, we only have a few spare. We're going to tell you how to hold the cookie and everything like that, but just know, don't sweat it if your little flower broke, because I have a few extra in the back.
Okay, so that would be one entire PowerPoint slide. It would just have those, prompts like taking a phone call, the restrooms, where they're located. And then we would go through with the class script about what that says. Now, we'll go through after that, pictures of us looking nicer than we do today, kind of an intro of what we do. Then we go through a slide that says a quick breakdown of today's class. Now, the PowerPoint is just the breakdown of slides, and there'll be a picture of the completed set. And then we'll say, so let's go through this one. Okay, so today we're going to cover some things. If you're new or if you're trying to make this a little bit of a thing, we'll give you enough tips to either, hey, I had fun today and now I'm done, or hey, I want to make this and possibly a side hustle. So we're going to start by reviewing the tools you'll be using today and down the road, but if you want to keep this as more of a fun thing, we'll give you a cheaper option.
Next is we have piping practice. This is where we break you down so we can build you up. Piping practice is harder than actually decorating on cookies, but we want to make sure that you have the feel of the icing bag, the feel of the flow, and how to make it perfect for when you're finally ready to decorate.
If you don't need this class with tears in your eyes, we didn't.
You ain't doing it right.
Right. So after that, we're going to go through our cookie playlist. That'll be the cookies that we're decorating today. Again, you see them in front of you, but we're just going to go through one by one so you kind of know where we're going.
Today we're going to actually talk about some of the techniques we're using. They actually have cool code names. I would like to say wet on wet and dry on dry, but dry on dry is not something. But we're going to cover some of those techniques that we'll be using here in class today.
And then we'll get to decorating, and that will be a majority of your class today will be spent decorating. And I got to say, we got a lot of beautiful cookies in front of us and not as much time as you think you have. Mm-hmm. But we will spend probably the most of this class decorating. So at the end, we're going to cover dough consistency and icing consistency. However, you're going to get trial by fire through most of this class, and you probably won't have too many questions.
The great part is if we hit our 1.5 hour mark and we didn't make it to icing and dough consistencies, you're actually going to get an email from this one right here, and it breaks down our icing consistencies. You'll get my dough recipes. It'll also give you an Amazon list of everything that you used in class today. So if you want to make this a thing, you can use exactly what you used today.
Okay, so that would be a PowerPoint slide. Then I know everyone's saying, can we see the PowerPoint slide? I'll see if I can screenshot one of it. It's not impressive.
It's not what you think.
It's not. I think you guys think this is going to be more complex. It's a circle of the cookie that's blank, and a cookie, like if it was a flower, it'd be a blank flower, then it'd be a flower with a petal. And then we'd be like, okay.
All right, we're going to decorate one petal.
And
you see right here, only this one petal is decorated, and there's a reason for that.
Right.
So I want you to take out your icing bag. I want you to decorate this one petal, and I want to set this cookie to the side.
Right. So Corey will then, as soon as she says that, she'll go around with gloves on, helping people. Since I don't know really how to bake or decorate, I'll kind of narrate their problems. Oh, wow.
Heather will be like, Corey, come over here. She's having an issue.
But I've watched Corey do it enough that I can actually talk people through the problems. I just probably couldn't do it myself. Okay, so here is their COVID policy. I do a sneaky sneak here. I'm really proud of it. We do have a COVID refund policy that protects us and is fair to people. So you can get a complete refund, 100% money back on your bank account if you ask for it 7 days prior to class.
Because 7 days, I have enough time to try to fill your seat.
Right. However, if you ask for that refund 5 days prior to class, you can only get a class credit, which Eventbrite handles. We don't get paid until you actually show up to class or you let your credit expire.
Yeah.
So So I send the reminder email 5 days out because you had the other time. So at 5 days out, we thought this was fair if you had COVID. Because at the end of the day, we don't want you to
I don't want
if you
to
have
exactly.
Ben. So we want to, hey, don't come to this class. It's fine. But you did wait a really long time to catch COVID. I was just kidding. You really did wait a long time to kind of see that. So no worries. Here's your class credit. Don't worry about showing up this weekend. But we'll see you. And we have our Eventbrite that allows you to have no expiring 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We always make them expire in 1 year because I don't know if we'll be doing this in 3, and I want to get my money eventually.
Yeah.
So we've had 10 people get a class credit.
And that is okay. We don't say, prove to me that you have COVID. No.
So if you say it, it's fine. Eventbrite does refund the full price if they have COVID. You don't have to hold up a test strip or anything. So this is what I send in the email. It is on the day it's on the Eventbrite registration thing. It's in their first email. It's in their second email. So they see it 3 times total. It says this is not a PowerPoint slide. Since we're only a day out from class, so this is the one that goes out the day before class, we passed the refund cutoff. But you can still get a class credit for a future open class if you cannot attend due to sickness. Here's our policies. And again, they're posted on our website. So no one ever say I didn't know. If you're sick prior to the 5-day refund cutoff, you can cancel for a full refund. So that's the 7 days and longer. And might we say, thank you so much for quarantining. To request a refund through Eventbrite, follow these steps. They need to request the refund. So
yeah. We are at the 1.5 hour mark. So let us get through this a tinge bit faster because we're losing bodies.
Okay. For any sickness symptoms prior to your class's start time, but after the 5-day refund, please email us before your class's start time, and we'll give you a credit for the next available class. They can pick it. We don't have a choice. If you arrive to class and the thermometer registers over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, we'll ask you to leave the class and we'll give you a full credit towards your future class. Yes, we lose out on that one rule.
Yeah.
But nobody's ever done it.
But we're advocating for people in the class and we're advocating for ourselves. I want everyone to be healthy. I want everyone to be happy. I want this to be a great experience.
Yeah, we can't punish people for things outside of it.
Yeah, so.
If we do not hear from you, now here's the one thing that really protects us. If you don't email us and your class time starts, your class is at 1 and we don't hear from you, you do not get a refund regardless of what your symptoms were. You have to respect us by letting us know.
Yeah, so that's the boundaries that we talked about in the podcast. Setting this up now before class makes it so you don't have a headache after class when someone's like, please, I didn't show up. My alarm didn't go off. I overslept.
Okay.
No.
Right. To just wrap this up, I'm so sorry, guys. We're going way over. Things I wish I knew. Get people to cancel quickly. I know people are like, no, don't send out the reminder that cancel. No. If they cancel 7 days out, we can fill the seat.
Yeah, but if they canceled 2 days out or whatever, I can't. It's really tough, and that's why we do that email last minute if we need to. But it really stresses me out.
Right. So ideally, we would like to have somebody cancel 7 days out so we can fill their seat 5 days out because we bake 2 days out.
Yeah.
Upsell kits, always upsell something. Grant wants to sell cookies. I would highly recommend it. That you already have a captive audience.
The reason why we try to sell kits at the time of purchase is because people have their wallets open. I don't want to try to think about having to take their cash, trying to find money for cash back if they pay at the class. So if you streamline it and you catch them, as we say, with a marketing mindset, with their wallets open, they're more apt to buy. So that's why we have it on Eventbrite. You can buy an additional kit. It has worked well.
Deanna gives everybody a swag bag, which is great. We're not as cute.
Yeah, sometimes the places that we host at, we allow them to give something if they want to.
So their modeling company wanted to give everyone
a Starbucks gift card, and they did like lip balms or something.
And then AR Workshop did a tiny painting kit they could do at home.
I try to make a cookie each time if I have enough time, so they can just be happy. I'm making cookies anyways, so I try to make it themed. We did little tiny ghosts back in Halloween and then Christmas. Yeah. What did I do?
You did a terrible set that we scrapped and we did something cuter.
Can't remember. Okay, I think whatever I get, would have give them for free.
Oh, I don't remember. Megan said our mom is really crap. Okay, so Corey actually bought a ton of shirts from Bakery
Tico has funny. So I was cookie dealer. I actually wore to a restaurant after class on Saturday, and I want to say that there were an 80-year-old couple say, "You got cookies over there," but then they wanted to know what we did. So that was honestly great. But I love those
comfy shoes, jeans that are nice, and then either Corey will wear a t-shirt and I'll wear either a t-shirt or something that's just a little bit more dressy.
I
We
just
try to
like the
do our hair.
t-shirts. Makes me want to go around. It's funny. I like their sayings.
Angela said, I wonder if I could get my hubby to be my class buddy because of the banter. It really, truly does have to have two people. But if you have two people working, you're going to have two people prices, right?
Yeah,
There's
but
two
if
people.
the hubby lets you keep your money, then
Tell hubby, I love you. Can I keep the entire? But it does help to have two people managing questions. So Corey will be going around helping, and I'll keep the class moving. Again, that ladies class we took, she was a one-man band. She sat in the middle of the table surrounded by students, and she handled it just fine.
yeah.
But you know, she was decorating, so she didn't have the PowerPoint. It's hard to do technology by yourself.
It is.
Right, okay. Do you ask how many people in the class? Again, we're under COVID restrictions to 50% of a building's capacity. So if the building could seat 20 we're at 10. But I find like those class sizes are pretty good.
Yeah, they're nice. I love making money, but it makes it easy to give everyone value.
And it's also easier to manage.
Someone sent a smiley face. I love that.
Valerie's been asking great questions. Such good info. Thank you. Thank you, Krista. Whoop whoop. Courtney from Bakery Tico is right there.
Woo-hoo! Courtney, I want your shirt.
Okay, so do you want to go through the questions? I know we've like run way over, but these are the questions I found.
Just choose 5 top questions.
We covered a lot of these. Location. Do you send it home with your students? No, we don't. Design 6. How much do you charge
read
per
it out while you're
person?
saying it.
70. How often do you teach a class? That's a great question. We teach 1 class day a month, and on that class day, we'll teach 3 classes. Sometimes we will do more, but oftentimes it's kind of 1 class day, 3 classes. So if we're at the remodeling studio, we can have 10, so 10, 20, that's 30 people.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the brewery could hold 15, and I think the AR workshop is 12.
Right. So it's somewhere between that. Target market, again, it's just mostly women. We have a lot of friends, mother, son, mother, daughter things. Do you students prefer, we always do simple designs with maybe 1 cookie that's a little impressive for them. That's still pretty easy to do. Most students are beginners.
Here's the thing. Read the question out loud because they're not reading it like you, so you're just saying
But I'm saying most
students
students.
are
Okay.
beginners.
This is when, if anybody would like a twin, she's right here for the taking. Get your little class buddy. How many cookies do you create per class? 6. Do you include the recipe for party goers to take home? Yes.
In an email.
In an email after that also says click here for pictures, and it always asks for reviews. I make piping practice sheets and laminate them. Should I have bothered? That's absolutely what we do. But again, if you rewatch the live, you'll see some workarounds, or you could just use parchment paper. You could use parchment paper and put that under it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
And about how many questions do you answer from the students in each class? Do you take them during the class or after? Do you cover FAQs before they start? That PowerPoint allows us to hit a lot of the FAQs. During class, we just say, scream out your questions. It usually will help somebody else. After class, we're cleaning up. So your questions will have to be kind of wrapped up. And then we'll say, hey, just shoot us an email and I'll get to you when I can.
Kat says, do classes need to be taxed under Virginia law? No, but we pay income tax. So it's going to be it's not handled like a cottage law, at least in our state. It's handled like we are teaching a service. The cookies aren't a product.
Someone says, how do you choose what to decorate? It depends what that is that month. Do you have everything in a basket for each person ready to go? And
These tins.
yeah, the tins with parchment paper, kind of like basket, but they work off that parchment paper and with those tins.
How do we pick a theme or a set? We do not ask people what they want to do. We just come up with what we think is best. I don't know what a pickleball is, but I would almost take that class.
So we don't let it's not up to the students to decide. It's up to me and Heather in those 4 icing colors. So we'll sit down there and I'll be like, okay, a bunny can be white. A bunny's foot is white and pink. Flowers are pink. We can do green and an egg. That's how it is. So we find 6 cookies that hit those 4. That's what if you like the set, come. If you don't like the set, don't.
Sandra says, how do you send the cookies home if they still need to continue to dry? Do you give them heat sealing bags if they want to gift them to other people? No, we do tell them in class how they can get these cookies to last longer. We recommend a heat sealer if they do, but these cookies do not look good enough to gift it to anybody.
What should be in each level of different classes? Example, wet on wet, airbrush, writing projector. We know that we make more money focusing on people who do not know how to decorate or are very much beginners. That is where our highest margin, my highest audience is. So that is what we focus on. I do not want to teach medium level skilled people. That's a lot less people. Maybe if we've taught thousands of students and I can say, hey, from those thousands of beginners, we can now go to intermediate, that's fine. But we have not even gotten close to teaching everyone in this area beginning. So we want to stay away from hard things like projectors where you share. things, airbrush. I'm not going to buy
There's people that are
any-
better at that than we can.
and I'm not
ever
going to
be.
buy 7 airbrush sets, for
Right.
people to do. That's a lot of cleaning too. I
Mara
hate
had a
cleaning.
great point. She said, "Do you bring them into a Facebook group?" We do not, because it's too much to manage. Not saying it's a bad idea.
No, it's a good idea. So say if you were doing virtual classes, creating a private Facebook group for them, it's really easy for you to create that, exclusivity. Plus they can go back and forth with questions, answers. Then they can upload pictures of their sets when they're done that you can use for marketing.
However, we use our virtual classes are through Zoom because it integrates with Eventbrite,
Makes it
and
easy
we
on
can
us.
collect payment there.
Yeah, so we're trying to streamline it.
Not
Less-
everyone's on Facebook anymore.
No, and less time done mean more profit for you.
Okay, we're almost. Do we serve refreshments? No, we do not. Francesca says, I'd like to outsource to other vendors, but I'd also like to make money. Is it possible to do both? In COVID, I'd say I would just not. It's too many turning wheels.
Right.
If you're just trying to teach a class, most people just want to be taught. If you're trying to make it an impressive, like grab and go eating thing, I think you're creating a little bit more stress for yourself and making less profit and dealing with more people, which is
Right.
always.
We like to say the vendors or the places that we teach at can kind of do a little spiel. I don't want someone to ever feel sold to because I don't like to feel sold to. So that's why I really kind of keep it very limited on that aspect.
Trish asked a great question, which she actually covered in the podcast this week. Is there a podcast?
There's a podcast?
Okay. Have you ever taught a one-on-one private class? So do you mean one-on-one with like two of us to one person? No.
Someone asked, and I don't think they like the price.
Yeah. So if we taught a class to a group, like if somebody was having a birthday party, we always offer to teach it virtually
Yeah.
for
It's
$200.
It's not cost effective for us to teach one person. The cost for that is so much more than them just getting on YouTube. So that's why we say, hey, if you can wrangle 7 friends of yours, we'd be happy to teach, and we could do it virtually. We could do it in person, depending on what you need.
Right. Someone said, you said you give them a recipe. Are you giving them your real recipe? Yes.
I'm giving them my real recipe. You don't have to. The recipes online seem very similar.
Here's the thing, like we said, we gave them a recipe and nobody went to bake it. I forgot to put the oven settings.
Yeah,
So
I wasn't
nobody was
worried.
doing
The
it.
one girl who actually is now selling cookies still didn't use my recipe. So
Yeah, there's too many options and people like
people are going to be like, Corey, your cookies disgusting.
I like them. But our recipe is basic. So the real recipe is a basic one. Right.
Basic. It has
Basic.
vanilla bean paste table.
Right. So we'll actually send them an Amazon shopping list with all the stuff we used in class that Amazon also provides. Has anyone ever bought it from it? I have no idea. We do not use an affiliate link there. They're just buying straight from Amazon.
Someone asked with the virtual class, are you in the virtual class? How do you go back and forth?
Great question. This is a lot of technical setup. I know a lot of people were asking about virtual
Yeah.
class, so we should touch on it. We'll have right here, we won't use I have an aftermarket webcam, but instead I'll turn my Android to tell my computer my Android is my webcam. That Android will sit right here. We're way too close in this class, by the way. The Android will sit right here over top of Corey's cookies using an Archon mount, and I'll screen share a PowerPoint. I have two screens. I'll screen share a PowerPoint here. So what it was is when Corey's decorating, I'll switch the camera to her, and when she's not decorating, I'll go back to the PowerPoint. We look like crap.
We
on
are
those
never
days.
in those videos. We are never in the lives. Just my hands are. And you know what? No one has ever cared to see my face. They get just as much value, and it gets us one less step, so we're not having to have 3 different aspects to it. So I'll point with my scribe. Heather will do the commentary, and people have said it works just fine.
Right. So for the setup, for those of you wondering, I have 2 desktop screens right here. I'll put a laptop over there that acts as an end user. So I'll, cover the webcam on all of these. This webcam will point down here my cell phone, and then I'll be able to see what people are seeing right here. Corey will see the Zoom screen. So she can see what she's doing with her hands. So it'll just be of her hands. And then right here, both of us can see the PowerPoint slide that I'll share too. So when she looks like here, it'll always be her hands. This will always be the PowerPoint. And that camera will be the live view of what they're seeing. So when Corey's like going crazy, they'll be like, no, look over there. They're not looking at your hands. Give me a second to switch the cameras back. Again, 2-person thing.
Lastly, someone said, now that I know Heather has her snake, she's my favorite twin. I'm
And
getting
then
ready
Frank said he was bitten by a snake.
And
Frank,
so-
my snake, I've had for 5 years.
Heather's. Are you going to tell us?
Yeah. So my snake, I've had for 5 years. Her name's Felicia, so we could say bye Felicia when we left. Felicia's never bit anybody. The vet tech we took it to make sure it was fine, tried to get the snake to bite it and said, I cannot get the snake to even hardly open its mouth. However, the other day it was, snakes are very weird about their own excrements. They don't like to be around it. And I think I forgot to clean off it from somewhere. And the snake was really stressed. So it was doing loops around this giant cage I have. The cage is like, cost me so much money. So then my little sister was like, oh, I never seen a snake so active, because a happy snake's a hiding snake. So she's like, will you take it out? So I did, but the snake was so stressed by having done so many laps in the cage that she bit me. So then now I'm like, so the kids next door were like, you have a snake? Can I see it? Sure. They're like, can I touch its mouth? I said, listen, it bites. Like, you can, but I'm not liable for what happens after that.
Okay, so I think we're going to wrap it up. We have almost hit the 2-hour mark, and I cannot believe we talked this
Aaron
long.
has 2 questions. He says, is it quiet in the Zoom class? Yeah, we mute everybody. It's just Corey and I talking. We're taking questions during the virtual class. Yes, I man the chat feature. So nobody's talking, but they can ask questions through the chat feature, and we get about 5 questions per hour class.
I think what we'll do is wrap this up. We will come back, do another live about virtual classes. For the rest of the questions, we'll try to get back to you in the comment section. I'm going to wrap this up because you guys were fantastic for being with us for 2 hours. We appreciate your time. Hopefully you got something valuable out of this. If not, please message Heather at your early convenience and scream about both of us.
Sonia, it is a 7-foot boa constrictor, and I have a 1-foot long hog nose. Okay.
Bye.